Owls.
Turn on Night Owls.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And now, the forerunner to Facebook, where your words tell 1,000 Instagrams. Use your phone for making that call. And get talking across the northeast, please. Because this is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Alan Robson with you. The Night Owls, of course. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. So glad you did. We shall try and entertain your socks off till the early hours of the morning, as we do. Now, horrific things happening across planet Earth. We will get through it, as we always do, no matter how dark or light things become in the future. So try not to worry. Try not to be too frightened by things. People in the Ukraine being incredibly courageous, and we need a batch of that too, because it is unsettling, and we've been taught how to be terrified by COVID and by the way the governments of the world have dealt with it, and now something like this comes across that is really genuinely frightening. So you mustn't be sucked in by that. Live your lives, be free, because that's what our forefathers fought for, and we may have to fight for it again. Now, talking about daft stuff tonight, because we're getting started on attics and garages. Now, this wasn't my idea. Chris, who works on our telephones, of course, contacted me in the week and said, what about this for an idea? I've just found all kinds in mine. And it's a fair thing to talk about, because let's face it, garages rarely have cars in them these days. They've normally got stuff. And attics, well, it's got all of the stuff that you don't think's good enough to put in your house. So what have you got up there? And when I was thinking about this, I remember when I was staying at my mum's when she was going through dementia and she was just about to move into sheltered accommodation. And I remember that my mum and dad, they were hiders, not hoarders, hiders. My dad had a floorboard, and under the floorboard, they had like wills and passports and birth and death certificates, all that kind of stuff, and about 28 quid that my dad thought was a fortune, all under a floorboard. So I thought, well, if they've got a floorboard, they might have more than one floorboard, so I should check. And also, I was asked before I moved out if I could get rid of all the stuff in the attic. So I did, and 99% of it was absolute rubbish. However, I did find something totally unexpected, right in the very corner. And I was kind of groping and scrabbling past that horrible fiberglass insulation stuff that you have. Because I know my dad would have put stuff under there, there's no question about it. So, and I found a few things that he'd put there, a few old clocks and a couple of watches, bits and pieces, nothing of any value at all. And right in the very corner, I found it. There was just a hint of fur. I thought, what the hell is this? And when I pulled it out, it was a mummified cat. Now, presumably the people that had the place before me mum and dad, because me mum and dad had it for about 20 years, I presume the people who had it before that lost their cat at some point and probably thought it had run away or been hit by a car or something, but no, it was there in the corner of the house, totally mummified, covered in kind of cobwebs and frozen in time. Horrific and horrible. Have you got, what's the weirdest, funniest, best thing that you found in your attic or your garage? What do you keep in your garage? What you got in your attic? And why is it there? Because if you don't use it, why isn't it in it on a tip somewhere? That's the kind of questions. Because, face it, there's some strange things you find when you start rooting.
And it was Mrs. E. Heads or something who I've never even, when I've looked on the deeds of the house, I can't even see when they owned the house. So it must be a while ago. So I opened it up, and there's a white £5 note sitting inside of it. When did
the white, I'm going to have a look. When?
That's the thing. I don't know when they got stopped circulating the white £5 notes.
But I've just clicked on and said, white £5, what's it worth? The 1934 one is worth £1,421.
Well,
yeah,
holiday for me.
Sharp intake of breath there. How good is that? And also, a lot of the stuff that we buy in jumble sales never makes it to their house. Oh, hang on a second. Brian's been on, says, Wayman, Alan, I've up in my loft a few old vinyl records, Billy Fury, Halfway to Paradise, Elvis Presley, the Beatles, to name a few, and a few cobwebs. Nee mummified moggy, though. There you go. Dot, my loft is full of Halloween props. Actually, it's quite scary up there. Well, it would be, wouldn't it? What have you got in yours? Do tell. Talking of jumble sales, my parents used to buy stuff at car booties and jumble sales for any birthdays, every Christmas. I made a point of opening them the day before so it didn't spoil my day, because it was always something like used stainless steel coffee set that still had the coffee in it. And you're going all with dents in and stuff. You know, the stuff that you chuck out because it's got a dent in.
Yeah, well, this was in the car boot pile for a reason.
Oh, dear. Well, you just got to bring it out when she arrives, and then when she's gone...
Any presents for the grandkids are going to stay at grandparents.
Absolutely. And then Tony's been on. My mum was cleaning boxes out of her loft, and my youngest daughter was helping. She was about 6. She was very excited to tell me Nana had a huge black CDs in a box. She'd never seen an LP before. Blame me, I bet she's probably playing them now, I'm guessing, with regards to that. But don't forget, if you would like to call us, we'd love to talk to you about whatever you got. And also, you can ring us for that 0191 488 3188, or just WhatsApp us with any message. If you want to say hi to everybody, we can do that too. 07863 431 837. Okay? And that's what you do. Save us to your contacts, and then every week you can just drop us a little something. Also, things that people have found. I asked Chris what he had in his loft, and he did tell me, but he asked me not to mention what it was. I'll play you this clip instead, and whether the two are related, you'll have to work it out for yourself. So these are the excuses to give your parents if they find your hidden stash of porn.
Yes.
Off you go.
So here we go. Number 10. A burglar must have put them there. That's going to work, isn't it?
No.
9. What would I want those for anyway? Everyone knows I'm gay. 8. Part of my art coursework is to do a nude study. I mean, I can hardly ask the pair of you to strip for me. 7. If you don't let me keep them, I'll have to start using prostitutes. 6. Granddad asked me to look after them for him.
Yeah, ooh.
Oh, I know.
Right, yeah.
Hey, they're still at it at 7.
Problem was, if your mother gave them to your granddad, he'd be thrilled.
Oh, yeah, good. Great.
Keep going.
5. They're just naked ladies, for God's sake.
Yeah, of course.
4. If you don't let me keep them, I'll have to start killing women again.
Ooh.
3. Oh, yeah, I've missed one out. 3. They're from Dad's drawer anyway. And number 1, because there's not a number 2, because I don't know where it's gone.
Okay.
Well, I bet Phil Collins reads them.
Do you think so?
Hey, probably.
Well, I almost think he looks a bit squinty. Do you know, he looks a bit squinty.
You reckon?
Oh, yeah, I think definitely contact lenses.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Probably really thick ones. Jam jar contact lenses.
I would imagine so.
We also talked a bit about hoarding stuff, because when you hoard stuff, it starts out like a nice little gentle collection, but then you find to fit the things that you hoard, you've got to shove them up in the attic or stick them in the garage. Talking about hoarding, video collections. Nobody has a video anymore. I didn't have a video for the last 3-4 years, but I had all the videos that I had when I had a video. And they were all in alphabetical order, and they're all lined up.
And I bet you any money you like, there's videos up in the loft.
That absolutely.
I can guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
And video machines.
And all the gadgets that stopped working and stopped being kind of current.
Yeah.
The place will be full of the damn thing.
Yeah, because Brian was a television engineer by trade.
Blimey, you'll have all kinds of wires and stuff.
Uh-huh. You know, I mean, so he could fix anything, but if he couldn't be bothered to do it, it would go in the loft and I'll do it later, Dave. Well, yeah. Hello, you've died and left me with all this crap.
And what about the stuff you've bought and sold?
What's your best thing you've ever bought that you've made decent money on? My little tale was I spent 15 quid on some dolls, some little Disney dolls things.
Right.
And I managed to sell them for 1,900 quid.
What?
1,900 quid I got for them.
When you say dolls, what do you mean? Like furry toys, cuddly toys?
You know these publications you get every month and you get something stuck to the front and it's usually either a Porsche car or you collect like maybe 50 or 60 cars. And
right.
You'll have seen them. There's magazines out there.
For everything I have, but I haven't seen a Disney one with a doll on the front.
Quite a while ago, maybe, late 80s. Late 80s kind of thing. Okay. But the rest that have sold haven't made anywhere near that. So I don't understand how I made 1,900 quid. I wasn't complaining, Alan, you know.
How many did you have then?
50 altogether. I had the full set.
Oh, whoa, what a guy, right.
The full set of 50. They actually went to Brazil.
Tell me your stories. What's the best thing you have bought or sold? Can you get anywhere near £1,900? And of course, hang on. Vicky's just flashed up on my screen. My mum's moving house. They've just found my Holy Communion dress in the loft. My little girl just had to try it on. So cute. Brilliant. Laurie, I have a friend who found some squatters living up in their attic, allegedly. Apparently snuck down in the night to eat his food, but he might have been lying as he was a compulsive liar. There you go. Press Hardy, my loft has a scale electric and a Sabudio, but I'm too scared to go up there in case there's a spider's nest. They tend to be spiders in attics. Hi, Alan. In my attic, I've got every episode of Stars in Their Eyes from 1992 to 2004, apart from one tape from 2002 that my mum accidentally set on fire. Brilliant. Well done, Toon Mum, who looks strangely like an elderly veteran from the television. 0191 488 3188. Let's get some calls on too. Starting off with Tiffany, who is in Stanley. Hello, Tiffany.
Hello.
Hello, darling. What you got to start us off with tonight, then?
I was just going to raise awareness for the charity fundraiser I'm doing for Mind.
Right, tell me more.
I'm doing 100 miles in March, just to raise awareness for Mind and raise some money for it.
Brilliant.
Mind provide advice and support anybody experiencing a mental health problem, and it's like quite close to my heart.
Absolutely, no, they're a good bunch in Stanley. I've been up to Stanley Mind. I did a little bit of work for them a few years ago. They're just lovely people, and they don't half make a difference because people come down to the Stanley branch from all over the place. It's like a centre hub for a lot of people.
Oh, we've got loads of brilliant people in Stanley, like Packed House. They really make a difference.
Great.
So there's the community centre and everything.
Where you walking to, and how can people help?
It's just counting up your miles every day. So it's like a little bit here and there, and it's to get everybody out the house.
Right.
And to promote like well-being in yourself as well.
Because to be honest, the one thing we've been taught over the last 2.5 to 3 years is staying in and not getting out and not doing even basic exercise, just walking a few hundred yards a day rather than sitting in your little box, because you might as well be in prison unless you do.
Oh, I know. I think lockdown really affected everybody mentally.
Sure.
It really affected my partner mentally as well. And seeing him going through that, I think that's pushed us to raise awareness for it, because I've had my own struggles with anxiety,
right?
And then to see him go through it, it's just pushed us to help anybody who's going through it.
No, for sure. How's he doing now? Is he okay?
He's brilliant. He's getting over it. He has his minutes,
ups and downs now,
but I couldn't be prouder of him.
No, that's good. It's weird, because I think everybody, including myself, we've all had a little battle. And it's a battle, I think, with ourselves as much as anything, because you find yourself in a situation you've never been in before.
Oh, I know. I've done my research on Mind, and they've said every year 1 in 4 people actually experience a mental health problem.
I can believe it. I can absolutely believe it. So, is there a website where people can join in and help Mind?
Where you can go and sign up and do the challenge yourself on
great.
Mind.
Right.
I've got a GoFundMe page. It's just 100 miles for Mind on GoFundMe.
Right.
There'll be a few there, but all the money goes to Mind,
Mind
so
anyway.
it doesn't really matter who gets who gets donated to.
The good thing is, no matter what you're doing, you could be doing the last 30 feet to get you across the 100-mile lane. You get up to go to the loo in the middle of the night and you might go through the tape. Hey! But that's how it works, isn't it? Because it's every step you take. That's tremendous. No, it's good stuff. Hey, well, good luck to you, Tiffany, and thank you for doing that. Much obliged.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nice lady doing good stuff. The folk at Stanley are stunning folk. So support them if you possibly can. And do you fancy walking 100 miles? Why not? Incidentally, a bit later on, we've got our competition, got 4 clues for you. But let's start, as we mean to go on, with a piece of music that isn't played enough, frankly. It's one. Can you remember when Europop was really the thing? A lot of people got excited about it. And about 4 songs out of the 1,000 that were released around that time are still worth listening to today, but probably only 4.
Night Owls with Alan Robson.
You never know who's going to call next.
Now, we're very, very fortunate because we got Sam on the line next. Now, Sam is in Birtley. Her dad, Ed, owns Deal Direct Blinds on Salt Meadows Road in Gateshead. A lot of you will know that. And obviously, the obvious joke, if it wasn't for blinds, it would be curtains for us all. However, nothing to do with just making your house look good. They've gone the extra yard. They've been collecting food and clothing for the people of Ukraine. And not only that, that's great on its own, Ed drove a large van to the Polish border with Ukraine on Friday. Now, you got to remember, this is a situation that is edgy at very least, wherever you happen to be. And to put yourself right in the middle of all of that takes a great deal of courage. Let's talk to Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Alan.
Hello. Thank you for talking to us.
That's all right.
It's an amazing thing your dad's done here, mind.
Oh, amazing. But, I mean, he is my dad and he is amazing at everything that he does. I'll always say that.
How did it all start, though? Because let's face it, we're only 11, 12 days into the conflict, and it had been going on, word talk, chat back and forth. Is it going to be, are they going to invade? Are they not? That went on for about 3-4 weeks beforehand. At what point did your dad decide we're going to have to do something here?
Tuesday morning. So, yeah, it's been a crazy week. He always comes up with these ideas. He's crackers, and he always does things for charity. Anything he can do. We've had buglers on the roof of the showroom. We've had just anything he can do, he does it. And he rang myself and my sister on Tuesday at 7:00, and he said, I'm going to Ukraine. And I said, no, you can't. He said, don't try and talk us out of it. I'm going. I'm going to pack the van up. I'll get a little status out. We'll get some bits, and I'll just go over.
So how do you turn that out? Because if you think about it, he travelled on Friday. So
yeah,
it's only Tuesday. How do you fill a van full of stuff in 2 days?
Yeah, determination, support.
Right.
I mean, would come across so much red tape. I mean, we were literally fighting against flames. It was just, looking at it probably Thursday night, it wasn't possible, and we kept saying, it's going to happen. And I believe that anything you want to do, if you put your mind to anything, you will do it.
100%.
There's nothing in this world that's impossible. And I knew my dad wanted to go, and my sister Joanna, she knew. And she was on the phone constantly to P&O cruisers, literally everybody. And they were saying, you can't do this. You need these forms, you need to fill these out. Yeah. And it was just what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
But you see, this isn't just, let's get a van. Let's just think of it sensibly. First of all, I presume you had a van because you've got a company, so you'll have a van. Or you have a wagon, or whatever. It was a large van, apparently, so it was full of stuff.
Well, it was initially a van. And then because of all of this red tape that would come against, he ended up going in his motorhome.
Whoa! Right.
Yeah, so that got spinned around a bit.
But it's difficult enough to. Well, okay, we'll get somebody to help, and we'll get across to France. Then it's let's move through France, through Germany, and I don't know what route he took, but he'd be crossing at least 3, 4, maybe 5 borders.
Yeah, he was, which were absolutely great. He never had any problems. So because we changed to the motorhome, it was kind of a bit easier because he was a bit more of a tourist. It wasn't too hard, and it wasn't that he was in this commercial van.
I'm a tourist. I just happen to have enough clothes for 200 people.
Well, then what he had to do was we had to put a appeal out to get a trailer.
Right.
On the Wednesday night we needed a trailer, and by the Thursday afternoon we had a trailer. Somebody had donated us one.
Wow.
So by the time we'd weighed the motorhome and weighed the trailer, we couldn't put anything in the actual motorhome. Well, very little anyway. And everything went in the trailer.
Right. Which in a way is a blessing. But that's just purely and simply because the motorhome, we couldn't pull any more weight, I'm guessing.
Yeah, It's 7 meters, so it's it's a big motorhome.
Yeah. But on top of that, just even driving that anywhere, but he's going to have to drive that onto a ship.
Well, he had to go on the Eurotunnel.
Oh, I see. Right. So on the back
So
of a
that got
train.
changed.
I've got you.
Yeah. So an hour before leaving on Friday, he still wasn't sure of how he was getting there, whether it be the ferry or the tunnel, which my sister was sorting out. And then it came to the conclusion that he had to go on the tunnel.
Wow.
So then within about 20 minutes, it was like, right, it's booked. You need to leave now. So then he went on the tunnel, and I mean, it's massive. Like the motorhome itself's huge. So obviously worried about that. And then, yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is wow. That's just the beginning. So you get through the Channel Tunnel. You're in. It's Gare du Nord in Paris is where it stops. So he gets out. He drives out at Paris, and then how did he work his route out?
My sister.
I was going to say, because if you type that into AA road, road planning, it's not going to do it.
You'd be surprised. I am tracking him on the motorhome tracker and then going on to my Apple Maps, and you'd be surprised. But yeah, she figured out the best route. So,
right.
But we've had a few hiccups along the way. We're not known to be doing everything very smoothly. So
yeah, but you're getting it done. That's the.
We are getting it done, absolutely. I think his travel time today was meant to be 4 hours, and one of my little mishaps ended up meaning that he's travelled for 13 hours or something. Yeah, and then we got to the campsite last night, and that was closed. It closed at 11:30, and he got there at 11:20, and it closed.
Right.
So he has come against loads of things, but bless him, he's like, it's absolutely fine. He's just,
So where is he?
He's there. He's at the border now.
He's at the Ukrainian border now in Poland. Wow.
Yeah, so he travelled on Friday to the Eurotunnel, and then got off the Eurotunnel, and then done a little bit more travelling, then stopped. Then on
Saturday.
Yesterday, he travelled, I think it was 13 hours. And then today he's done about the same. In total, he's done 32 hours travelling.
Right,
physical travelling, 1,523 miles.
Is he on his Todd? Has he took?
Yeah, he's by himself.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That is incredible. So hang on, he's there now, and to be honest, we get a glimpse on news programs where we're here in Poland, we're here in Germany, where we're seeing people off the train in the various countries nearby. He's physically there. Well, what was it like? You must have explained. You must have had 1,000 questions for him.
Yeah, we've got. I've got a few different social media platforms that I'm putting everything on that I can, just so that people can get a glimpse of it, because I think you watch it on the news and you don't think it's real.
Yeah, and on top of that, in Russia, they're saying it isn't real. They're saying that it's just a minor operation we're involved with. I don't know what the world's getting so upset about.
No, this is real. Like this children, and I mean, there's a video that my dad's done. He sent us it, and we put it on, and you can see he's crying, and there's children behind him and women behind him carrying a carrier bag. And that's all they've got. That's all they've got.
And they've left everything else behind.
And it's horrendous. But he's had a he's saying that he doesn't want to come home. He wants to just stay there. He's made a friend with this German guy, and he was helping make fires for people tonight, and it's just something else. It's just horrendous.
No, it is. And can we get a link to the photographs so that everybody can see them?
Yeah, of course. I can send you the links to all of our.
If you could send them to Chris on our switchboard, and we'll make sure that we get them on the line so that we can get it out there so that everybody can have a see, because he really deserves to be seen doing this. So for the next, who the hell knows? Your dad's going to be there. Or has he planned to come back at any point?
Yeah, so the plan was for him to turn around today. So he was going to do the drop-off today and then head back today.
Right.
Unfortunately, you can't unload the trailer, but he's fine about that. They said that they haven't got any room for it at the moment, but he is at the front so that he can unload hopefully tomorrow.
All right, sure.
But I don't know if he's going to leave tomorrow or not. I think that he does want to do anything that he can. Like he's going around just trying to do anything. He's trying to give families money, and this just seems so proud. They're saying, no, I don't want it. We don't want your money. We're okay. He's just rang there, and he was like, there's someone outside the motorhome. And he says, what the hell's happening? And he went out, and there was a guy just unloading his car with about 200 blankets, just putting them on the floor for people
anybody
that
who
need them.
needed them. No.
Huh?
It's just, my view on this is the bravery being shown by the people of the Ukraine. Could we be that courageous if it came to the crunch? Because, they're like 400 of them just walk in front of a tank. What? In this day and age, it's the most heartbreaking thing, especially when most of the world felt that things were getting better and, that, there could never be a war again because everybody's making damn sure that doesn't happen. And then this.
This is happening, yeah. I know. It's just surreal.
So I know nobody knows where this is going. Has your dad got a feeling? Presumably he will think it looks like it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, he said he's never seen anything like it. He said, this is just horrendous. This shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be happening now. Like, it's just awful.
That's horrendous. Hey, well, give me love when you talk to him. We'll be following his every step, and he's a superhero. Thank you very much for coming on, Sam. All the best.
That's all right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Take
darling.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
How good was that? Hey, blimey. Ed, hang on, can you stick that back up again, Tony? Sorry about that. I didn't have a chance to read it. Mike Amory's been on. It says the guy on who drove to the Ukraine with supplies. The B&M store in Ashington have donated to the cause and wish him a safe return. So there you go. Got some stuff from B&M as well. That's great. Anybody that can chip in, it's a great thing. But on getting there, if you're a self-starter, and Ed certainly is that, when you get there, of course, there's nobody expecting you. So all of the big organizations like the Red Cross and the Red Crescent and the various other ones kicking around that neck of the woods, they're not expecting you. So they haven't kind of budgeted or created space for any of the stuff you're taking. Still think it was a cool thing to do. That's absolutely amazing. Let us move on. Next, we're heading up to Aberdeen and we are talking to Ross. Hi, Ross.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you for having me on.
No problem. What can we do for you, mate?
I just wanted to talk about the mental health support for refugees.
Right.
I'm an autistic human rights activist.
Right.
My story's quite a long one, so I'll cut to when I got my diagnosis, which was 18 months ago, believe it or not.
Right.
Within that time, I'd had a promise to my daughter that I would create a book for her. And I'd written it years ago, but I wanted to give her a physical copy.
Right.
So when I got my diagnosis, I thought, maybe I should look into this. Maybe I should just go for it, and do it for her.
Yeah.
Within about 8 months, the book was out, and I'd started campaigning for autistic people, for media representation. For example, even just an autistic therapist on daytime TV. You get therapists on all the time, but you don't get autistic therapists on. So I started getting encouraged by journalists, by autistic people and caregivers to take a kind of deeper role. And the end of last year, I became a human rights activist. So I've got quite a background in terms of living with PTSD myself. I've had it since I was 13, and it's an absolutely hellish thing to live with.
I'm a really nosy person, Ross. So apologies for butting in. You mentioned that you'd had PTSD since you were 13.
Yeah.
Do you mind talking about what you'd experienced that had given you such a condition?
Yeah, it was a camping trip. I was constantly picked on. I just targeted all the time.
Right.
And it was a camping trip with school. And I put my sleeping bag about 10 feet roughly away from the fire, fell asleep, and I woke up and the bottom of the sleeping bag was on fire, and somebody basically dragged me down and put the sleeping bag in the flames, and thankfully, it wasn't. It was fireproof, which at the time wasn't guaranteed, let's be honest.
Right, yeah.
Because we're talking about the 90s, you know what I mean? So
for
that
sure.
kind
You,
of
you don't know
material
whether they're
was-
fireproof until you find out after the fire, right?
So that put me off people for 30 years. I tried to avoid interaction, conversation, everything for a long time. It's only really been last year that I learned to communicate properly because to wake up and realise that somebody's tried to burn you alive. I mean, how do you even process that? I don't even know how to process that now.
So what was the breakthrough because you mentioned you were only diagnosed 18 months ago. Where did the breakthrough come? Because how do other people outside realise the root of the pain that you're suffering as a grown man?
Sorry, what do you mean? The diagnosis 18 months ago was...
You were diagnosed with PTSD, you said?
No, I was diagnosed autistic.
Autistic, right, okay. So,
and at that point, I tried to get an autistic therapist, because I've seen therapists before, but I'd never got anywhere. And it was because they were looking at it from a completely different way of thinking. Whereas I didn't need to explain the way an autistic mind works to an autistic therapist.
Yeah.
And that was a breakthrough for me. But I mean, I still get episodes. I had one a few weeks ago where I woke up and I had a psychosomatic reaction where it felt like my arm was on fire. It's an absolutely hellish thing to go through. And that's why I think mental health support for refugees is so important right now, because you can't stop that. I mean, what's happened to them, it's just not possible to take that away, but to limit the impact over time, you can do that with support now. You can do that with little things like, noise cancelling headphones or earbuds to block out sound, to give a break from what must be just a constant drone of sound, and has been probably for days, if not longer. And it's just little adjustments that will allow people to process what's happening a little bit easier, so that PTSD doesn't end up becoming a lifetime problem. I mean, when you're talking about children, that's something they could carry with them for the rest of their lives.
No, for sure. It's so. The Ukrainian support effort, I know you want to support in any which way you can. How are you going to add your weight to it then? I mean, are people receptive to you about it?
Yeah, well, it's been amazing actually. How much it's been shared in the last couple of days. I'm housebound. I broke my spine in 2007, so there's very little I can do in terms of
physicality.
Yeah, exactly. Everything I have to do is online. But I've done a global autism acceptance campaign from home, so I knew that with the right placement, with the right kind of material, I can make an impact. So I mean that's been reinforced to me. So it wasn't a case of put it out and I thought there would be some kind of reaction. I didn't expect as positive a reaction as I got.
What kind of percentage? Forgive my ignorance here, but what kind of percentage in society are autistic? I know I've spoken to many people who are, but do you have any rough idea of a percentage?
Yeah. It's a complicated question. My mum's a math teacher, so I got her to do math on this, but it is a complicated question because roughly 2% of children are diagnosed as autistic. There's a lot of adults that go undiagnosed, a lot of females that go undiagnosed. I mean, roughly you're looking at a population of over 5 million. But how much over 5 million? I don't know. There's no way to tell you that.
But that's still an awful lot of people, and people who aren't being represented by the media, it seems, at the present moment.
No, well, that's what I'm campaigning for. I mean, when it comes to autistic characters, you've got 46 in TV and film. That's worldwide. And most of them are implied and not actually stated. When it comes to music, there's 2 songs now that I found for the community, but 2 songs for a population of 5 million is crazy. Very few characters in films played by autistic people, and about. So, you know,
you're not
it's
represented
not like
terribly well. No, it certainly sounds that. In respect,
I think the problem, if you don't mind me just saying, I think
Sure.
the problem is that there's not been enough autistic people involved. So what you're getting is a lot of the perception of what it's like to be autistic rather than the reality of it.
Right.
And I think that's why a lot of autistic people aren't really drawn to the TV shows and stuff, because it doesn't feel like
it doesn't represent them.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel authentic, you know.
Because their vision of the world is very different to the one that's being shown on pretty much every television program.
Yeah, well, we've got a binary thought process, so everything is either right or wrong, good or bad. You know, there's no middle ground, there's no grey areas, and that's where we stumble in society. That's often the areas that trip us up, because when it comes to values and morality, a lot of autistic people I've spoken to have really strong values because of the way we think. You know,
Right.
you know, to me, this is just vile. It's one of the worst things I think you know, it's hard to look back in my life in 40-year-old when you think about, you know, the Berlin Wall and everything else and everything in history that I've lived through. But, you know, this probably has to be one of the worst things I think I've seen so far in my life. And it's just because it was so out of the blue. It was just...
Yeah, nobody saw it coming, really. Even though there was a lot of talk about it, nobody ever thought that Putin would be daft enough to do it, and also daft enough to threaten the rest of the world. And that's like lighting a tinderbox, isn't it? You don't know how far it could go. Let's hope it can be smothered, the flames, but blimey, the Ukrainians need our help right now is the thing. And,
yeah, definitely.
And we're not really responding. We're doing... The scariest part of this is, I remember the beginning of world. I wasn't alive, but I know my history well enough to know that Chamberlain, the Prime Minister, went across and talked to Hitler and came back saying, peace in our time. And then within a few months, the world was at war and we were at war too. So this just appeasement doesn't work with characters like this. And be interesting to see where it goes. If people would like to pick up on what you're doing, or maybe would require some help, or would like to be a fellow counsellor, because you're obviously a human rights activist for autism in general, where do they go? What do they do then, Ross?
Well, the best thing to do is I'm always looking for people to get involved and support. I mean, my hope is to get lots of little projects, you know, animation, short films, get them up on a community channel, get more music made, and, you know, just, if we're not getting inclusion, then we don't need permission. We can do that ourselves. We can band together. We're a big enough community, and with caregivers helps as well. You know, it's really, the sky is limitless.
No, for sure, you can do it
so
yourself.
if anybody wants to get involved, they can email me at mylifeautistic@gmail.com.
Right.
Or you can go to my website, which is mylifeautistic.com.
That's simple and plain enough. Good talking to you, Ross. Good luck to you. Hope it works out, man. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me on, mate.
You're welcome, man. No worries. Aberdonian from that mighty city in Scotland's northeast coast. 0191 488 3188. Once remember flying in a helicopter to an oil rig from Aberdeen. Strange times have changed. 0191 488 3188. Attics, garages, what's in yours? We've had a variety of old cars, tat, a circular saw, my games room, old furniture. What have you come up with? You've also had some photographs as well from Steve in South Shields. Now, the first picture I want to use is the one that Tony says, I'm not showing you a bloke just poking his head, but that's the one I want. Because this is Steve poking his head through the little... How did you get through that hatch? And you can all see some old clothes, and he's had to pull the flooring back. He's got his screwdriver there. So that's the first picture. Tremendous. Then the next one is the picture of his motor. There's a motor. Is that in your attic or is that in your garage? I'm presuming that's his garage. He's got an old motorbike, and it looks brilliant. And the middle picture is him sitting on his motorbike in his garage with his little man cavey bits. You know, people collect signs and stick them up on the wall. He's got his shelves with books and oil and all of his clutter. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you because you've done exactly what I would love. I'd love everybody to do that. That's Steve from South Shields sending me, well, his world, his attic and his garage world. Take a picture of yours, share it, and let's get them all on there. Fantastic. I love the fact that he took the trouble, and I thank you for it. 0191 488 3188. Let's get a star who comes out at night. And starting off tonight with Suggs from Madness, talking about the beginnings.
What were you working towards then? Where did you think you were going?
God almighty, the dustbin. I actually quite fancy going to art college. I wasn't bad at drawing and painting, but I just couldn't get the qualifications. So I ended up just in a load of old jobs, working in butchers and painting and decorating and things like that.
So how did the music thing kick in then?
Well, I knew some of the band from school. There were people that were hanging around pretty much the same kind of places I was as a teenager.
Yeah.
And there was talk of this, of getting a band together. And then it started, and I wasn't in it. They had another singer at that time, unfortunately. But he left, and I just one night somebody asked me if I'd like to have a go, and that was it, really.
Did you know you could sing?
No, I didn't, not at all. No. Well, in fact, we'd been to see a film called American Graffiti.
Oh, yeah.
It had all those rock and roll songs. I think I was singing something off of that film when we came out of the pictures, which led someone to believe that I might be able to sing in the band. Yeah, but no, I hadn't up to that point, no.
And obviously, with you liking the specials, to suggest that you do, or the style of music Madness does remotely like the specials, because it's not. You've got your own niche. There's no argument about that at all. When you first start, you were singing rock and roll, American Graffiti, so you would think, well, you'll be a covers band and you'll make your money that way. How did you get your own style like that?
Yeah, certainly we were influenced by a lot of things. And I've got to say, the specials were a big influence on us because they kind of started pretty much the same time. And we saw them play live, and they had a lot of elements that were similar to us, but as you say, not exactly the same.
Right.
But yeah, we did start as a covers band. No, exactly right. Yeah, we started playing Rock Around the Clock and Fats Domino songs and a few old ska and reggae songs. And it was our drummer who started writing songs, actually. And I thought, well, if that thick can write songs, and I certainly can. No insult intended.
to win yourself a rather nice prize. In fact, there it is, right there on the screen if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. For the rest of you, it is a fine non-spill Night Owls cup. It's a hefty thing that you can use for whatever you want to put in there. And they will become a limited edition, and you will get to a point fairly soon where you'll never be able to get them again. So if you want a real collector's item, try and win this. Now, the competition that we're doing, you seem to really like, so we're going to crack on with it. It's Who's Hits, Who's Greatest Hits, actually. I'm going to give you 4 clues. Each clue, the answer is a song title. Then you have to work out whose song titles they are, whose hits, and then once you've heard all 4, then you can give us a call and tell us the answer. You don't have to call. You could WhatsApp us too, either or. And then as long as you put your phone number on, because we will have to get back to you if you are victorious, because we call you back live on air. Now, tonight, the first clue, the first song title that you're looking for is this. If the weather turns nice near Edinburgh, okay? If the weather turns nice near Edinburgh, okay? Yeah. You will get it, don't worry. Then you've got to work out who the singer is, or singers, depending. Is it a band? Is it an artist? Work it out. If the weather turns nice near Edinburgh, what song does that make you think of? Write it down. And then if you've got an idea, then you can perhaps find it easier to work out the next 3. I think any kind of hint and you'll get this one. And I think this one's absolutely and eminently doable. So even if you've never tried this before, tonight's your night. 1 clue down. Let's get to the calls. Lisa is next. She's in Washington. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, darling. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How's you?
I'm fine. And how's the charity coming on?
Right. Well, it's doing really well. We're up to £1,646, which is a bit of a rise from the last time I spoke to you.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And the next step on the fundraising journey, I'm holding a charity night, which is all arranged now.
Oh, brilliant. Well done. Where's it at?
And it's at the Ox and Plough pub in Oxclose in Washington.
Right.
And it's on the 27th of March from 5 o'clock on.
27th of March from 5 on. And what's happening? What you got?
Right, so we're starting the night off. We're kicking off at 5:30 with Scales and Spikes Reptile Party, which is where I'm actually going to be holding the spider.
Oh,
which
blame
will be
you.
interesting.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
So essentially, people will be sponsoring you to put yourself through your biggest nightmare.
Yeah, well, I'm brain training. I've got a tarantula skin, which caused a massive meltdown and a panic attack at work. Yeah, I felt so stupid.
Excellent.
Sitting on a pallet upstairs in a room crying to myself,
Right.
like a big child.
No, but I mean, if that's your phobia, hell's teeth, the fact that you could even do that's amazing. So well done.
Oh, well, I've managed to actually hold the box it's in. So that's a start.
Right.
I don't know what I'm going to be like on the night. I definitely think the tenor ladies is going to be an absolute must.
A bit of wee will come out. There's no question. It's just because I had to do it and I'm not a fan. And the first thing it did was run up my arm, nuzzle in my neck. And, I had a T-shirt on and you were beginning to think, I wish it was a polo. I wish it was a solid steel polo neck that I had on. They don't do what you expect, so just be a little wary of that. And but you'll do it because it's a great cause, so you'll see it through. You'll see it through, and that's fantastic.
If it runs, mind it's had it. It's going on the floor.
If it runs, you're going to run by the sound of things. So okay, you've got the reptile bit at the very beginning to get the spider out the road, hopefully, so you can enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'm not too drunk by that point.
A little bit of anaesthetic might help.
Oh, it's going to help a big deal. Then I've got a great band on called Paper Boats. I actually went to see them playing last night and they are really, really good. They do some of their own stuff and they do a lot of like cover versions as well, but they're really good.
Right.
And then after them, at about 9:15, we have another singer on, Eric Clark.
Right.
So he's going to finish the night off. We have a raffle which there's lots of prizes. So we've got like up to now we've got a bottle of Grant's whiskey, a bottle of gin, a bottle of Bacardi, a bottle of Captain Morgan Gold Spice rum. We have 3 bottles of wine. We have a hairdressing voucher, a free gents haircut, some Yankee candles, a cake, and a £25 Argos voucher. We've got a valet from Honda Virtue. We've got Eagle Archery taster sessions, ring fit for Switch, loads of stuff.
It's a bottomless pit, but hey, well done. So that's all happening on the 27th. Remind us where?
It's at the Ox and Plough pub at Washington. At
The Ox and Plough at Oxclose, right? Gotcha.
Yep. And it's a free entry and there's free parking too.
Free entry, free parking, and the chance for you to win all kinds of stuff and be totally and thoroughly entertained. Fantastic.
Oh, yep.
So, but from 5:30 onwards, and get in there early if you want to see the whole spider experience, because I think that'll be fantastic to watch anyway. Hope you're going to put it on camera as well.
Oh, yeah. It's got to be done, hasn't it? It's going on Facebook for everybody to get a good laugh at.
Tremendous. Hey, well done. But you've turned that around really quickly. So well done. That is tremendous work. So don't forget, the Ox and Plough, Oxclose, 27th from 5 o'clock onwards if you want to gather. Make a night of it. Have a right raz. It'll be the business. Thank you very much, Lisa.
You can bring your kids too. They're welcome to stay up until 9 o'clock and they can touch and hold all the animals.
Wow.
So, bring them down.
Okay, that's great stuff. Well done again, Lisa. You really have done well. Proud of you. Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, love. Bye-bye. How good is that? We say, let us know when your next thing's going to be. That's it. On the 27th, Ox and Plough, Oxclose. Right. Oh, hang on a second. Alison from Anfield Plain is entering the arena immediately after this.
Greatest Hits Radio.
To that world, or is this his secret kingdom?
No. I don't go up there. I request what I would like, and it appears.
But how come he might have a strange woman stashed up there?
Well, she'd have to squeeze into a very small space.
Well, as long as he doesn't, that's what I would be worried about. But okay, take your word for it. Hey, but it's things like what though? What is it that you have up there that you would normally use in your house, but it's not good enough to actually be in your house?
Oh no, these aren't things for the house. These are things that have came with him over his life.
In other words, it's that's important to him that you won't allow him to bring in the house.
That I didn't even know he had.
Oh, like
so,
what? Oh,
like things that, well, one day one of my daughter's boyfriend was like, oh, I really, really fancy going like kite surfing or paddleboarding or something like that. And I just saw Rob like perk up a little bit and then disappear for a bit. And then all this equipment comes out: paddleboards, surfboards, kite surfing boards, inflatable paddleboards. He started putting sails up that were like as high as the house, and I was like, "What? When did you move them? When we moved out?" I think he had a separate van.
What? That's that's the most random thing I've ever heard. He's got a kind of kite boarding thing.
Yep. There was 2 surfboards up in the loft, and then inflatable ones as well.
What? First of all, a surfboard?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen him on a surfboard?
No. Not up until that point. I hadn't up until that point. He used to live in Cornwall, so he used to do a lot of water sports this was before we got together.
Sure.
He's got scuba diving gear. He's got wetsuits for every occasion, like summer ones, winter ones, thick ones, thin ones. Like he's got everything.
And yet he hasn't. How long's it been in the attic then, to your know? How long you been where you are now then?
Well, we've been together for 12 years.
Right.
And he's never used it in that 12 years. And we've moved 5 times.
That is
and I didn't
stunning.
Notice it.
How can you miss 2 surfboards? I mean, they're huge.
I know. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's just been, but we've got a steam engine in the garage.
Of course you do. What?
His dad made a steam engine, so it's not huge, but it's quite big. It weighs about 2 tons, and it's fully workable.
Size
wise, about 4 foot by 2 foot.
Right. That's still big enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's sizable. It takes probably about 6 people to lift it, and I didn't know that was there.
Right, yeah, no, I would think so, but that's just purely and simply because he couldn't hook it himself. But otherwise, it would be hidden in an attic. And next time next time somebody says to him, "Oh, I'd really like to become a high wire act," suddenly he'd go back upstairs and come down with the full kit.
The best bit: a unicycle. A unicycle appeared out of the loft.
I don't know how I got onto the circus tack, but there we go.
Yeah, there was a unicycle up there. He did sell the unicycle, though. I made him sell the unicycle when it did come down, because after he nearly killed himself twice on it, I was like, that cannot go back up there. He was convinced that he would be able to ride a unicycle. It never happened, and I kept saying, your bones are too old, and it's not going to happen, and you're going to end up doing a serious injury.
Now, you know, we have already established that an awful lot of the stuff that we have in garages and also in attics, they tend to be the stuff that we've collected but we've never used, or we're never going to use, or it's a pretty thing but it doesn't match the way we furnish our homes these days. It's that. How come you haven't gone to a sale rooms and said wetsuits, surfboards, steam engines?
He's convinced that one day he'll use them.
It's a long shot, isn't it? I mean, no disrespect, Alison, but I'm not sure I could picture you, Kate, surfboarding or
You'll
anything
not get
like
me
that.
on water, I don't swim, I'm like you.
No, well, this is it. So is he, I don't know, planning to run off with a mermaid? Or so? I just don't see it.
He started doing the kite surf and the paddleboard, and we were going down to Roker.
All right.
And that was just quite funny. I've got lots of videos, because he went down with obviously my daughter's boyfriend, and they went paddleboarding, and Matthew was off more than he was on the paddleboard. So that was quite comical. So that was quite nice to sit in the car and watch them.
But you had no clue all of this other spectacular stuff was up there, like
No.
Because a paddleboard,
like-
fair enough, people might, if he lived in Cornwall, a paddleboard, you could say, oh, that's fair. He's got a
Yeah.
paddleboard. He's had a clot. He's had a clot like people do. But it's just all the other stuff's probably worth a fortune as well.
Yeah.
Wetsuits and things, just them on their own are worth a few bob. It's just...
But it's like CB radios and stuff like that. He's got stuff like that up there. And he collects, do you know when you get like a carpet fitted?
Yeah.
And you've got the offcuts.
Yeah.
He likes to keep them just in case he needs them for anything.
That was my dad was exactly that man. There's 3 bits of wood flooring that we have had that was over what we needed for the kitchen.
Yeah.
So they're up in the attic, and it was. I found a lump of wood on the road. I might be able to use that for something. And what really? I've got it. Oh, there's an old toolbox he was throwing out. It's a bit hammered, and you're thinking it's crap, essentially.
Yeah,
just
that's what I think.
Do that. But mate, I have to say, and we've had a couple of people emailing in saying, "Oh, why don't they sell it? They could make a lot of money, and it's this kind of stuff now sells for a fortune on Amazon and this, that, and the other." eBay, I would imagine it would go for. Got a few people saying that. As for me, to have a couple of surfboards up there, that's cool. Have a CB radio up there.
That's how Rob sees it.
And I no disrespect to the fair sex, because we do differ in these regards. Most blokes would go, I wish I had a surfboard and a CB radio. Would you ever use it? Probably not, but to know you've got one.
Yeah.
He's like one of the Beach Boys, for heaven's sake. He's got a surfboard. It's tremendous. I love it.
And he always keeps saying, well, what if like one day that I wanted to use it, it would be so expensive to go out and buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So for what he could sell it for now, he would not be able to like replace it in the future. So, and he has these ideas that the North Sea is going to be like surfing in Cornwall, and that I keep saying it's not the same.
No, there is you'll notice
struggles with the temperature.
You'll notice it when his testicles shrink to the size of boiled eggs. I mean that's the way it'll be. However, you also want to talk about the Ukraine and the whole Russian situation. Where do you stand on that, Alison?
Barbaric.
Yeah, for sure.
It's literally, I just can't believe it in this day and age that human beings can take orders and do that to other human beings.
Well, it seems a lot of the Russian soldiers are surrendering, and a lot of them just are, what are we doing here? And we've seen them being allowed to make phone calls home from, by the Ukrainian people, which is a lovely thing to do. But I just don't know where we go from here, and I'm not even really sure what we should do. Do we face off to them? Do we hit their threats with our threats, or what do you do?
Yeah, that's the kind of the scary thing when you're dealing with somebody who is clearly, well, I can't even think of a word to describe him. But you would think that his own people would now be standing up to him. They're starting to get information about what's going on, and they must be feeling it in Russia because the shops are closing, their money is going. They must be starting to feel it.
But apparently the only information they're getting, because they've cut off all of the internet services.
Media-wise, yeah.
So they're just getting what they're told by Russia, which is the world's all against us. It's terrible what they're doing. It's like an act of war, but we'll protect you. We've got the nuclear weapons, and it's scary chat. But the problem is, at the time that Britain had a chat with Hitler the very first time, it was, oh, don't worry, everything will be fine. Just leave us to do what we're doing and we'll not bother you. So he comes back and tells us, peace in our time, everything's going to be wonderful. And of course, the guy lied, like Putin's lied time and time again. I'm not going to invade. Yeah. Boom, he's invaded. Now what do you do?
Yeah, and it's so scary because, like, you know that he is obviously unhinged. And you never know what a person that's unhinged is going to do. So it's not even as if it's predictable.
It's just, if he fires something, surely Russia would be not on the map anymore. Everybody else would fire their things. And this is not a place we want to be.
Would we?
Would we? Well, we'd have to.
Would we?
If he
well,
bombs
yeah, but-
somewhere like, 'cause we heard the other week that he's mentioned that Britain may well be at war with him because of what they've done with sanctions and what have you. If he fired a weapon at us, surely everybody else in NATO, therefore, would fire a missile at him, wouldn't they?
Well, that's the thing. Would we? Because we aren't, like, the rest of the world are not idiots, and the rest of the world do not want to be in the position of creating another world war, which is what potentially is.
But would there be
looming.
The problem is, if you say to Russia, well, okay, we see what you're doing, it's terrible, it's barbaric, you're a war criminal, and he says, because if you looked, they kind of gave the game away, the boss of the place next door, Belarus, went on television with a big sign saying, here's the plan. He didn't say, oh, here are our plans. But on the wall were his plans. And the plans involve him taking the Ukraine and then going into, I think it's Slovenia and a couple of other countries. So this is not just the Ukraine. He's going to, if this works out, he's going to go into somewhere else and somewhere else. Now, if you let that happen, then China says, well, we can go in where we like and nobody's going to fire a bomb at us, so we can get away with the same thing. And maybe Kim Jong-un will say, oh, now's me time to go into South Korea. It just opens a lot of dark doors, is the thing.
It's hard to believe that we've come to this.
Yeah, I agree. Because I thought things were going
so quickly.
From a world point of view. I thought, hey, we're in a pretty decent place here because you look at the leaders and we don't have any major crackerjacks, and then all of a sudden one pops up that we didn't expect.
Yeah, and it's also like the world had come together with COVID. I think it had unified us, that the whole world had been through something together.
Well,
then this is almost like shattering the glass.
Well, I've got a slightly different view on that. I think that the whole COVID thing taught us how to be terrified again. And then as soon as we were terrified, every time the news comes on, death, more people died, you may die. Have you been injected? You may die. It was all death and misery. Yeah. Even all of our adverts now are about animals that are ill, children that are dying or losing their eyesight. Every second advert is, and have you sorted out your cremation yet? And it's, wow, we're loaded with death and doom. We've been terrified since the beginning of COVID, and now we've really got something that is a genuine concern. So what do we do now? The mental health situation across Earth is going to see horrific changes, and nobody to help, and not enough people certainly to deal with it. It's a scary thing, but
I think with the media and how they're portraying, I think the way to counteract that is to just be aware of it. And I think like what you're saying, like that it's when you're not aware that things kind of affect you mentally. I think if people, like, I know for myself, that just goes straight over my head now, because I just think lies. I look at the television now, I don't watch the news or anything like that. And a lot of the time I think I do not want to be manipulated like this.
Right.
So that awareness of thinking we are being manipulated. So when that fear comes in of thinking, oh my God, like that's really getting to me, I think to turn that around is awareness, and to talk about awareness of, like what you've just said, this fear mentality that they're putting into us. It's all been done for a reason. Somebody somewhere is doing it for a reason.
Absolutely.
But when you are aware, and when you realize that is somewhere there's an agenda for this fear, that you can kind of start to try and counteract it a little bit, because it's so consuming.
No, I think you're right. And who knows where it'll end, but we'll be in it together. We'll sort ourselves out.
We will do,
Hey, Alison, bless you, darling.
We'll keep going.
Thank you for coming on.
Okay.
If all else, we'll visit your attic and escape over the horizon on a kiteboard. That's what we'll do. Thank you very much, Alison. All the best.
Well, the wind up here in Greencroft, you'd be able to do that.
I can believe it. There's Alison in Anfield playing tremendous. We're back after this on the big one.
Greatest hits. Oh 0191 488 3188.
This is Night Owls.
And we have more of you guys, of course, but don't forget your first clue to our competition tonight. Already had a few guesses and they're all wrong. What song title comes to your mind if I say, if the weather turns nice near Edinburgh? Write that one down. If you got any clue, we are looking for whose greatest hits on Greatest Hits Northeast. So we got 3 more clues to come too. You get a second one in about 20 minutes, but let's get as many of you on air as possible. Had a few people asking, where's the ghost hunt? Because we usually screen that on Facebook and YouTube while the ad breaks are on for those people that are watching on their big tellies. Well, again, the equipment that we have here has always proven to be downright peculiar and not work the way that you remotely expected, hence the screen glitching every few moments. And it's not allowing us to show it. And I don't know how or why, but we will work on it for next week and see if we can get it working then. But whatever's in the machine seems to be against us. Now, you could think conspiracy theory in light of what's going on. Nobody allowing talk shows to talk these days. 0191 488 3188. Anyway, let's crack on. We have Paula. Did you remember the other week? We had Paula on talking about how she's got pet insurance for a dog, but because the dog's had loads of things that has been needed to be worked upon, she was asking for a little bit of help. Paula is back with us in Hotel Spring. Hello, Paula.
Hi, Alan. You all right?
I'm good. So, what's happening? How's it all panned out?
To be fair, after your listeners last week, some of your really random strangers to me donated some money, so I'm so thankful for that.
Good, thank you.
We're still working on his page and his GoFundMe and stuff to get his operation. Like, he's so confused because his blindness has come on so quickly. It's like as if you shut your eyes one night and you open them the next day. You can't see anything. So he's very confused at the minute, and the quicker I can get his surgery, the better. And it's looking more and more hopeful every day. So I just want to thank you, listeners.
And if they want to help again, where do they go?
I'm pretty sure Chris will post the GoFundMe link
Chris
on
is
there.
just giving me a thumb. Thank you very much. Right.
And then I just want to point out that there was some comments made last week around insurance about the dog and whatever and stuff like that. I pay out on a minimum £300 for Nigel every month with his insurance premium, his hydrotherapy, and his specialist food and stuff like that. So it's not that I can't afford to do these things and that he's not insured. And I'm not sponging off people. Like, that's what I felt. It was an attack on you, sponging off people. I'm not. Like, this is literally me wit's end. Like, you know,
this could happen. This could happen to anybody that's fully insured. This could happen to anybody. And it's just, if you do have a bad run and the dog, even though the dog's relatively young, it's had a tough time and it's moved from one thing to another. And I understand insurance will pay up to in excess of blah, blah, blah. When you hit that and your premiums start going up, it's a potential bottomless pit. And I know a lot of people say, but if you've got pet insurance, you never need to worry. Not true. Because if you have a lot of problems, then they come back saying we can only provide you with cover up to whatever that is, unless you add another 100 here or 100 there. And ordinary people don't have that kind of money at all. So I think you've done well to cover it as best you can.
I'll scrape it together every month. Like, he's downfall between his 20%, between his medication to keep him alive and his hydrotherapy and everything else. And that's fine. That's like, I've kind of accepted that that's a regular bill. That's just a regular outgoing. And he's such a little character. Like, he's part of my family. He's like one of my children. Do you know what I mean? He's just...
Yeah, I understand the way that it works. I also understand people maybe who aren't dog owners coming on saying, well, why should we look after her dog? I get it. And no matter what you say, that's not going to change their opinion. But if that was them and they were put in the same situation, what would they do? I mean, because they'd be as stuck as you are. So if anybody can help, if anybody can... Have you contacted any of the organisations like the PDSA? Can they not help on a case like this? Because you've done everything you possibly can.
No, they can't. And do you know what? I've tweeted Ricky Gervais, Paul O'Grady, you know, all of the people who you would think of where you tweet. I've tweeted them and stuff like that. And inboxed all the different radio stations. And to be fair to Metro is the one that got me on, and you know, I'm on your platform now, so thank you very much, and twice, so thank you. But you know, a lot of people are not responsive, and on Facebook I follow a lot of doggy channels, and none of them, like, you know, even though you inbox them, and do you know what, I totally get it, they must get millions of requests and stuff like that, and obviously mine is more important because mine's really personal to me. So you know, I really get it, and I'm so thankful for the kind donations of friends, family, and literally random strangers at the minute. It's so grateful. But I just want to address one point. I know everybody gets trolled, and I'm quite happy to be trolled, but there was a comment that was made on the news feed on your stream last week around I need some help with my MS, and I thought to myself, well, what do you need with your MS? Because I'm a full-time worker and I pay massive amounts of NHS NI contributions every month. I'm actually paying for your whatever you get. So that's really offensive to me. Like, this is something really personal that's out of scope, and you get all your little random trolls saying stuff. And
everybody's mountains are different. Is important to them, whatever the mountain is.
Totally,
and you know,
totally.
I get it. And hey, let's face it. The easiest thing in the world is to slag someone off, so you don't have to do anything about it. I mean,
Alan, can I say something else?
Of course you can.
If you don't, you know, donate to Nigel, that's totally fine. But there's about 100,000 dogs in the Ukraine at the minute who need help and support and rescuing. And if you see the videos of them on Facebook, oh my God, and Instagram, it's heartbreaking. Like, these animals need help. So if you don't donate anything, donate to those charities who are trying to help these dogs in the Ukraine and these families. Alan, you kind of guessed, I'm not a human lover, I'm an animal lover.
I know that.
So, you know, that's
well, let's hope we can just get Nigel sorted, though. That's the main thing. If you could get his eyesight back, because this is something that's curable, this is fixable. It can be done at the present moment. The dog's got the lights out. It would be nice to bring the light back into his life. Thank you very much for coming on, Paula. Keep me posted if you will.
Alan, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. All the best.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. And she named the wrong radio station, but it doesn't matter because I am synonymous with another one. But we are on Greater States Radio Northeast is where we happen to be. But we're glad that at least one or two people came forward to help. If you feel that you would like to do so too, you could save the eyesight of her dog. And to have insurance that you would think covers you for everything and then discover that it doesn't, what do you do next? It's the Night Owls. Alan Robson with you.
Great.
Ad break, we were told, would be there, but isn't. Now, you see, this is the very heart of there's nobody who can do that. They have to do it, and they're not here. 0191 488 So we rise above it and we crack on and we talk to somebody else. Now, last week, somebody said about the ghost, all the ghosty stuff that we do on a Friday at 9 o'clock, YouTube and Facebook. They were asking about whether or not they could attend. And yes, you can. Get letters in, email, WhatsApp us. Let us know if you fancy trickling out to a dark place with us, because we're looking to go into some pretty big ones soon. 0191 488 3188. Talk to us. Pick up your telephone. Let's get chatting. Shed stuff. East just sent me a fine picture of a watch, and he says, I've got one of these in my man cave. Now, unless your man cave is your garage or your attic, technically we don't care. But he's got a John Harrison marine chronometer. There you go. He says it's worth a few quid. Easter looks a fine thing. Can't argue with that. But we got Steve next. He's in South Shields. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Alan. It's Just to go on about what I was on about the other week.
Oh, about the ghostly stuff?
Yeah, the ghostly stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. You know them pictures that you put up earlier?
Yes.
On the motorbike and that. That's not my house. That is the man's house where the ghostly stuff's happening.
Where the tape was and everything. Gotcha.
I
You understand.
And this, you see where I'm sticking my head out the floor, he's actually built a false floor in one of the bedrooms just to hide stuff under.
Oh, wow. That's full on, mate, isn't it?
Well, you go in any old terrace house and the ceilings are about, 10 foot?
Yeah, they're
7
high.
foot high. But there's 2 steps going up into this bedroom. And then we just go the floorboards was a bit squeaky and all that, so we lifted them up. And there's just all sorts of stuff, junk, all sorts of stuff underneath it.
Wow. Now, that's funny because it's kind of like me dad. If there was a floorboard and there was space under it, it would be up and there'd be stuff in it. You know, that was the way he was too. So it's fascinating. So what else have you found then? Because the old motorbike's lovely. It's a lovely old thing. But what else you found on that in the false floor then?
Yeah, well, I couldn't really get in properly because it was too tight for us.
Right.
But there was just mountains of stuff stuffed underneath, old pictures of old motorbikes and stuff like that, you know. But where I did, you know, Claire, my daughter.
Yes.
Well, she went down with her friend to do some tidied up in the flat to get everything boxed up that was going and what have you.
Right.
And I told you about that the other week. But since then, they went back down.
Mm-hmm.
And have you heard of a white noise app
on
your phone?
Absolutely.
Well, I heard some strange carry-on go off this white app.
Right. Like anything in particular?
Well, he was mentioning letters. And Leanne, that's our friend who was she was jittery, but I've sorted the letters, Grandma. You know, it's just talking to this machine, basically.
Right.
Because he had some letters to give out to his friends, and she'd found them in the drawer.
Right. Now that's good.
So, and then he was on about the woodwork.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want that bedroom ripped apart.
Right.
The one where it's got the raised up floor.
Mm.
And then my daughter had opened a drawer, I think it was, and she heard this loud noise come off this machine thing saying, "Teacher, don't you touch." Well, Claire is a teacher.
Right. Oh, I see. Interesting.
Claire's a teacher, and then it said Leanne later on in the, well, they were there.
Yeah.
And they were both just spooked to hell. You can imagine.
Not bad.
I mean, you would be in the elements, but for somebody who's a novice, somebody who's a novice would be terrified.
No, for sure. So is everything out now?
Virtually, but you're still getting them voices coming over our TV at home.
That's just odd, isn't it? That is just odd. Wonder what that is.
She watches one program in bed on a Sunday. Some Australian thing, I can't remember. Prisoner Cell Block H thing.
Oh, blimey, right.
And this is when it starts, when she's watching it. So she's in this bedroom on her own, because I hope he sleeps in the other bedroom.
Right.
And she's just
freaked by it, right?
It's freaked out. Asses out her through, I tell you, out the window.
Right.
So that was where I was up to anyway. But that motorbike there, he's had since it was brand new. It's a 1961 Norton.
Wow, great make.
And all of that place, he was a joiner as well, so woodwork and what have you in the conversations. He's got all these woodwork benches and all the oil cans, and it's an Aladdin's cave.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It's fascinating. Hey, well, thanks for getting back, Steve.
Yeah.
It's a bottomless pit of interesting stuff in there by the sounds.
Oh, I tell you what, but it's the spookiness that's going on about it, you know.
Yeah.
The lass is terrified to go in on her own. She won't go in the house on her own.
Yeah, I can understand it. Absolutely. Hey, but thank you very much for calling. We've got to move on, but
no,
thank you for that, Steve. All the best.
See you later, mate.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Spooky it is. I wonder how that will end. I'm sure Steve will keep us up to date. 0191 488 3188. Time for another star coming out at night. And right now, it's a BG in conversation with Robin Gibb.
The three brothers actually were born in Douglas. Every time my mum got pregnant, she went and had a holiday in the Isle of Man. And that's where we were brought up for the first few years of our lives. Then we went to Manchester.
Right.
And then a few years there, and then emigrated to Australia, a few years there, and came back to England again.
So a bit of a split childhood. What was it like? Was it fun travelling around?
Yeah, it was actually very educational because we went on one of those very cheap sailing emigration plans, trips to Australia, and we got to stop off at all these sort of exotic places.
Fantastic.
Little kids, you don't normally see those things, you know.
Absolutely.
Like a £10 for the whole family to go to Australia on the immigration plan.
Fantastic.
But we got, it was great seeing all those places. 3 weeks at sea.
Yeah, sounds really cool. Were you a good kid, bad kid? What kind of lad were you?
Wasn't too bad. I mean, we were actually into music at a very early age, so the three of us were actually, you know, we didn't have a lot of money, the family, so we just used to, you know, get lost in our music, and the three of us would just have this little world of our own. So we didn't really mix that much with other kids, and so it was just, you know, we had each other most of the time.
Right. But I would have thought though that would make you learn all the nasty things about each other and ultimately fight like cat and dog, because siblings usually do.
Well, I think we did, but I think that wore off as we got older. But as kids, you know, we were still the normal kids that fight with each other over stupid things. But yeah, I mean, that's what brothers do, isn't it?
So
they fight.
Absolutely. So who always won then?
Who always won? Well, the strongest always won. Might is always right, as they say. But yeah, it's, you know, we just normal kids really growing up.
Dear. Well, what can you say? What can you do? You can merely play what they tell you to play, and it looks like there's an advert playing. Adverts, in fact. Lots of them. One for Sainsbury's at the minute. Not a sound out here in the north. No, not at all. So it just gives us more time to do our thing. So let's do our thing and talk to Adam. He's in Ellington. Now, his brother apparently is on the border as we speak. Let's find out more about this. Hi, Adam.
Hi. Basically, yeah, I'm speaking on behalf of my brother, who is actually now in Medyka, on the Polish-Ukrainian border, approximately 20 miles away from Lviv,
right?
Which is the Ukrainian city.
Yes. Yeah, we've seen it mentioned on a few news bulletins now. Explain what's he doing there, Adam?
Okay. Basically, he heard about what's going on. He heard about the refugees.
Right.
And he decided to go from the west of Germany, near Frankfurt, and travel with his car all the way down to the borders of Poland, Ukraine.
Right.
Here he found that locals were very unorganized, receiving refugees. He recalls the police force being not very helpful too.
Right.
They are poor equipped, and little organization is evident. And supplies are just lying around on the floor, on the wet floor with icy conditions. They try to keep things dry, in their makeshift tents, but it's really difficult. People are using oil barrels, filled with paper on fire.
Yes.
So it's not like wood that you would normally use.
Right.
So they're trying to keep warm using that. And you could see children warming their hands, with damaged gloves. And it's just horrible to see. Sadly, there's not enough wood to go around, because as soon as the wood is chopped and prepared, lots of people just grab it, because there's thousands and thousands of refugees there.
Sure.
And they all want to keep warm. So it's a bit of a problem right now.
What did your brother think he would be able to do other than just see what's going on? I mean, why did he go there himself? Because obviously we're seeing horrible scenes on our television screens here, but what good did he think he could do?
Well, my brother is dedicated in collecting supplies from supermarkets.
Right.
That he keeps posting videos on Facebook.
Right.
I speak to him on a daily basis, and he said, Adam, the support he gets he said, Adam, the support I get is absolutely amazing. But more needs to be done. It's basically chaotic, but he gets some support from the Germans, and they all say, can we adopt some of these Ukrainians, just for a short time, on a temporary basis, to keep them fed and keep them warm. So the thing is, help is there, but not in Poland as much as what there is in other European countries. So every country in the West is trying to help, but it doesn't seem to get much support here in Poland. But there is quite a few helpers there, so it isn't too bad. I mean, when he sees people flee, they have nothing: no water, no food. The freezing conditions make life difficult for the children, women, elderly, and those who suffer medical conditions.
Right.
The things he witnesses are just unprecedented.
No, I can imagine. Bottom line is, I think a lot of the world were surprised to see Germany be probably one of the first European countries to break ranks and say, we're going to send armaments to the Ukraine in the first place, so upsetting Russia. And a lot of the other countries were just keeping their heads down. Since then, obviously, Britain and a few others have mentioned, well, we're going to do the same. Do you fear for him being where he is? Because realistically, this Central Europe's where the last two world wars have been.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I said basically, why are you going over there? You don't need to go over there. It's dangerous. I heard some reports on television that people are shot and they get their cars taken away, and they're using it for defense and for attack, and there's all sorts of horrible situations happening on television. I do fear for him, but he says he is safe where he is because it's not actually in the Ukraine. It's actually at the border, so it's relatively safe there, but he can actually go into the Ukraine, which he has done before, and he has actually witnessed some people come over. So, people sleeping on the streets, women and children, and without blankets. But he tends to stay around the border because it's just safer there. And he says they haven't got anything. They haven't got blankets. They haven't got food, drink. So they get received there by the buses eventually. But they have to wait for the buses, and the buses get crammed up with people. And people are trying to help. They're putting clothes down on the floor, but the problem is they haven't got carrier bags.
We're seeing that, and some of the weather's snowy there as well. It's freezing cold conditions. So to leave stuff just on the floor to get soaked and useless isn't really too helpful. But the world has been caught. It's short notice, and they're doing their best to cover a long border that stretches for hundreds and hundreds of miles, and people are crossing left, right, and centre. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But hey, tell him to keep his head down and be very, very careful. Adam, is there anywhere where we can see the stuff that he's shooting?
Yeah, actually, he says he needs power banks. He needs things to charge mobile phones with, because they want to communicate with their relatives, and they also want to organize shelter, etc. Blankets, chairs, beds are all needed. You can communicate with him basically on his Facebook page. His name is Nicholas Rendell, but is under Nick Rendell on Facebook. So it's Nick. And it's Rendell. And if you wanted to donate, he gives instructions there how to do it. And he's right there, and he can give.
He can give, and he's gone. So you know where to go. I don't know what happened to Adam there. Disappeared at the last moment. 0191 488 3188. Nick Rendell on Facebook if you want to check him out. And we have got our second clue for you. Have you worked out whose greatest hits we're looking for? The first clue: if the weather turns nice near Edinburgh. That is your first clue, okay? If the weather turns nice near Edinburgh. Second clue is over 804 kilometres is what you want. Over 804 kilometres is what you want. Also, can I just mention Hollywood McShane? You needed to come in here because this has started doing strange things to my left-hand side that it normally doesn't do. But it's entertaining for me, but you can't see it. So you may well see Tony behind me doing his thing. There you go. Dive in. What's that? You know what that's all about?
I don't know what's happening here.
So you're going to press it anyway.
I'm trying to take off air.
It's only a matter of time. Oh, there you go. What have you pressed?
Studio One, because that's what we are. But
yeah, but we were there before, and then
we're here.
They're dancing with us. They're toying with us. They're watching our every move. 0191 488 3188. Let's get cracking and talk to somebody else. We got Penny next, I think. And Penny is in West Yorkshire. Hi, Penny.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, love. What can we do for you tonight?
Well, originally I was phoning about my hedgehogs to appeal to the public, to take a little bit of care, because at sort of this time of year we have a lot of problems where people are accidentally disturbing them as the weather gets better, and start doing the garden.
Sure.
They're either disturbing them while they're in hibernation and then, bringing them out before they really need to. They can just cover them up and leave them.
Yeah, because basically they're still in the latter stages of a hibernation at this point. Is that right?
Yeah,
or some of them already? I've seen one in recent days, mine trottling about. So are none of them up yet?
Some of them are up. I mean, I've got a few that are up. I've got the odd one that have gone out for soft release, but they're in a pen in the garden that they came from. So we know that they've got a nest box and the lady's feeding them and putting water out and everything. So it's not going to wander off and then get caught because there's no dry nesting material and, no natural food about. So, I know that he's going to be relatively safe. But, the ones that are up, obviously we're encouraging people to put food and water out for them. Just to try and support them because early spring it's like autumn time. We get a lot that suffer with roundworm and lungworm, because they're eating slugs and earthworms and things like that. But the main reason I'm asking for people to be extra cautious is we have an awful lot that end up with limbs being chopped off, or part of the head will be chopped off with trimmers and things like that when people are doing the gardens. And I mean, generally speaking, I've got a really good vet, and my vet will do amputations and we look for sanctuary spaces, so that they can continue living but in captivity as long as they're not really stressed by it.
Can I just ask you a question, Ian? And I'm sorry to go back a little ways because you mentioned they eat slugs and they eat earthworms, and that can lead to a problem of X, Y, and Z. I thought that's what they ate anyway.
They do, but look, slugs, snails, and earthworms are kind of bottom of the food chain for hedgehogs.
Right.
There's a misconception that it's their favourite food, and it isn't. It's kind of delete those if there's nothing else available.
What is their key food then? Because I always presumed it was stuff they would find in the leaflet, that kind of thing, like slugs and snails, puppy dog's tails, and
puppy dog.
that kind of thing.
Bugs, beetles, spiders, frogs, toads.
Oh wow! Really?
Mice, baby birds. Yeah.
Give over. I mean, they'd have to be. Are they killers, or do they just forage for dead things essentially?
Yeah, they'll forage. So if a baby bird's fallen from a nest, then obviously they'll take that.
Right.
Yeah, if they're lucky enough to catch a moth, they'll have that. But like I say, snails and slugs and worms, they're kind of, they'll have them if they have to.
Yeah, if they can't find anything else, that's what they'll go for. It's the McDonald's of the hedgehog world.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of
what
in
do
a way.
I have loads of questions popping up because I love hedgehogs. I think most people do. The cutest nose in British nature, I have to say, the hedgehog. With respect to if somebody sees a hedgehog mooching about, or if somebody, and what you mentioned was disturbs them, if they've got a compost pile, maybe in the middle of it, the warmth of it. The hedgehog's got his house or whatever. What can you do should you disturb? Maybe you're going to put in the compost on the garden and, hang on, there's a hedgehog sleeping here. Do you rebuild the compost place and try and leave the hedgehog on its own? And will it come back if you do that?
Well, the thing is with them, I mean, this is another thing as well. We do get them where, they're injured by people just jabbing the forks into the compost bins. And obviously that can potentially not end very well for the hedgehogs. So we do ask people to be a bit careful when they're turning over and taking the compost out of the compost bins. But I mean, if possible, we do ask them to try and leave alone for the hedgehog to come round in its own time.
Right.
But if it's not possible, I mean, really, they do have some level of protection, so we're not really supposed to move them from where they are. We need to leave them be, because they're on the red list for being vulnerable to extinction. So it's we have got to be a little bit careful what we're doing. But I mean, obviously, if you find one out any during the day, always contact a hedgehog rescue, the RSPCA, or your nearest wildlife friendly vet.
Right.
Get it checked over, because 99% of the time they are sick if they're out during daylight. I've had a couple that have kind of woken from hibernation here, stuck their head out, realised it's sunny, and gone back to bed. So,
right.
But I've kept an eye. But
Yeah,
I mean,
just to be on the safe side with it. I
just to be on the
understand.
safe side, yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
But I mean, we had one in last week. One of my regular ladies, she sent me a photo of a hedgehog in a garden, and it had ticks all over its face, little parasites all over it. And she said, "What shall I do? Shall I leave it?" I said, "Well, bob it down." I said, "Catch it if you can, bob it down. We'll have a look." I said, "Because at least if we can get those off and then make sure there's nothing internally amiss." And actually, most of the time we'd kind of say, "Oh, well, they've got a few ticks, don't worry about it too much." But there was just something I thought, no, I'm going to have it in and just check. And actually, it didn't have internal parasites, but it did have an infection that was so bad it did have to be put to sleep. So, it's one of those things. And, if you can see that they've got external parasites like ticks or any fly strike, then we definitely need to see them. It's a bit of a myth about hedgehogs having lots of fleas as well. They tend to, most of them that come in, they don't have fleas. It's the ones that have got like a suppressed immune system that are really sick that tend to be sort of hopping with fleas. But
I mentioned to you once before that I picked one up because it was stunned. I saw it get stunned on the road, and I didn't just want to leave it there for something to eat it. And it was covered with the biggest fleas I've ever seen in my life, much bigger than like human cat or dog fleas. These were big suckers.
Oh yeah, hedgehog fleas are massive. Yeah, in comparison to your cat and dog fleas. And I mean, it probably did just need to go to a vet, to be fair, because if it was out in the day and it was lots of fleas on it, then it
There's
wasn't
something else
well.
going on. I understand.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
also wanted to mention the Ukraine situation, but autism as well. Let's cover autism, and then we'll dive into the Russian thing.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, it was really nice to. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I've asked Chris to send me links over to both of these because my eldest son's autistic, and then we've got two children that we foster, and they're both on the autistic spectrum, although not diagnosed. They've got other diagnoses, but the behaviour and everything is attributed, it's similar to autism. And it was something I'd never really thought of because my eldest had needed to go to CAMS for therapy. He'd in the process of trying to get him diagnosed, even though we'd sort of spotted signs and things from him being sort of 18 months old, we couldn't get anybody throughout the education system to take us seriously. They just kept blaming parenting. So it kind of
sounds
like, felt like saying social sector, you better come and take the kids back because we're bad parents. But so it was something I'd never really thought of. I mean, the therapist that he saw seemed pretty good.
Made absolute sense to me that you could understand people feeling an outsider when everything in their minds tell them that what we're selling is very, very different to what we think we're selling them because they're different and their minds work in a slightly different way. So there should be some consideration for them somewhere, and there isn't it present. So that made absolute sense.
No, and I think in terms of the misrepresentation within the media, I think it's. I mean, they've done bits on the BBC. There was a series a while ago. I don't get a chance to watch TV. I'm always in the shed. But there was a BBC program about a little boy with autism, and I thought that was done, quite well. The bits that I saw. But I mean, I don't know. Like they say, when you do your autism training, everybody's on the autistic spectrum somewhere. It just depends to what degree, how much it actually affects you. But I think as well, for some people with autism, they're not going to want to be in the limelight and go and be an actor or an actress or do things like that. Some will. But my son certainly wouldn't.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll hook you up with as much information as we can. But let's move on to your other subject, which was the Ukraine and Russia. Where do you stand on that then, Penny?
It's a strange one, is this? Because it's the first time that that I felt that I needed to do something. When you hear about wars in other countries, and I was talking to a lady over Facebook the other day because she'd done an appeal and done a similar thing to what Sam's dad's done. She had friends that actually She raised the donations, packed it all up, and then she got friends that were driving over to Europe, so they actually took everything through.
Right.
She's doing another one now.
Right.
And initially, I just messaged her, and I'm so really sorry, I missed the first one. What do you need? Can I help you with anything?
Right.
But then it was the logistics. She said, I've nobody to ask to drive this over again. But we were looking online, and there's nothing really set up in our area.
Right.
To go to like the Red Cross or UNICEF or something like that.
Right.
So again, this is something Chris has sent me her details, and I'm going to contact her because it's not just about getting things over there; it's all the paperwork that you have to do for it as well. So I just wanted to learn a little bit more about that and kind of.
Well, hopefully she can give you a guided plan of what her dad did, and you can follow in his footsteps, so to speak, because apparently he went across there looking like a tourist, but he wasn't, and that kind of worked in his advantage. And it might be some way that you can follow that up and follow suit and have as much success as they do. But thank you for coming on, Penny. Keep us posted as to how it goes, and fingers crossed for those little hogs. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks, Alan.
Cheers, love. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
No, we love the hog. The hog, the hedgehog, we love him. Oh, hang on. He says had hedgehogs, has he? Here we go. Well, I have a family that lived in my garden last summer. Seemed quite happy to live alongside me. Never saw them for ages until one day, one stayed in the middle of the lawn when I needed to be in the shed. As much as I shouted and banged, it never moved. After an hour, I had to approach it, find a small brush, mental, but you reckon me, are just a kip? Yeah, well, at the present moment, they should be hibernating. Also, David's been on. I've listened to you since a long time ago. I have autism. You do a brilliant show. You make your listeners feel like friends, like one big family. I love radio. I do hospital radio. It's hugely important for people. It's a lifeline. I think it's amazing to volunteer for hospital radio. Your shows are always amazing. You cheer a lot of people up. Thank you for your kindness, David. 0191 488 3188. Keep your calls coming in. And don't forget, if you're trying to get through and you don't want to wait in the queue, that rhymes. You could WhatsApp us on 07863 431 837. Maureen's just been on and she says she's just discovered a thing called Robson's World. Is that anything to do with me? It is everything to do with me. That's my personal website. There's a whole range of stuff on there. If you're a fan of what I've done over the years, there will be something there of interest to you. robsonsworld.com. Check that out. But that is my site, so just spread the word of that if you can. 0191 488 3188. I had a few people asking, am I anything to do with it? Because not exactly as if Robson is an uncommon name in the glory that is the North. We are 2 clues down. We are 2 more to come. We have prizes waiting for you. But more importantly, let's get as many calls on air as we can, as the adverts have not been sent to us that should have been. 0191 488 3188. Somebody else has rang that number already. It's Brian, and he is in Gateshead. Hello, Brian.
Hi, Alan. Poland has taken in almost 1 million refugees.
Yep.
Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania have taken about 80,000 or so refugees each now in the tiny countries.
Yep.
Britain offers 50 visas. It's a disgrace. You know what I mean? What makes me really sick is I'm listening to Johnson on the TV saying, oh, we're here to support Ukraine. We're there for you. You're very brave. We're going to help you through this. We'll do everything we possibly can within our power to help you. Yet they only offer bloody 50 visas for people to come to the country. It's shameful. It just makes it look... Yeah, the guy makes me sick actually on how you pick my way through the TV when I see him on there. And he's just doing this as an election thing, you know what I mean? Because obviously he thinks, we'll get tough on them. This is not this is war. People are living in fear every day. They're getting blown to smithereens. Bombs are dropping on civilians. Blocks of flats are being bombed to bits. People are running, screaming through the streets to get away. I mean, they're getting their kids shot to pieces, blown up. What do we do? 50 visas. That's all we're offering. And people who want to try and get here, they've got to apply through Paris to actually get here. So if they've got in Cali, they've got a 600-mile trip back to Paris to get a visa or whatever. And they've got family here. Some of them have got family, so I just do not understand this government's logic. It's lies and all this nonsense, pretending to care about the Ukrainians and they don't.
What should they do, Brian?
We should help people, Alan, like everybody else is doing. We should take our fair share of people. And we've got hundreds of towns and cities in this country, right? We could easily set up little modular homes. You know, I was a student. I lived in a modular home. It was great. You know what I mean? Obviously, you had your own room. Well, I obviously had a desk in there studying, and there was toilets in there and that. But, you know, modular homes could easily be put together. They're like jigsaws, you know what I mean? They're easy to put up, and people could live in there to feel safe. They could put on any wasteland or, you know, land which is quite close to a city where they can get access to cities and stuff.
Sure. Question, Brian, sorry to put in. You mentioned some of the smaller countries, and I've been lucky enough to visit a few of them, Estonia, Slovakia, what have you. You said that 80,000 odd in each one of those, and an awful lot. Yeah, we're talking millions now, probably Poland. Bottom line is, some of those countries might be on Putin's list. So what happens when he goes into any of the other ones then? Or do we just say that's okay then? And we didn't do anything to stop him getting into the Ukraine other than talk about it and sanction. Do we let him go into all the other ones? And where does it start? Does he decide he wants Poland as well?
God knows, Alan, it's a really worrying situation. I mean, the Russians are now in charge of, do you know that nuclear reactor that was bombed the other day?
Yes.
The Russians are now, I've been watching the news and I'm getting a bit worried. I mean, the Russians are now in charge of that now. And I mean, they are, they've also got other nuclear reactors. And I've heard that there's some sort of institute in Ukraine where the Russians are, where they've got, you know, like nuclear fusion and energy and stuff, and they're actually bombing that now, right in this minute.
Yeah.
To try and, you know, cause a chain reaction. I don't know what the hell's going on with Russia.
Well, that situation you're talking about, the Russians have already taken it, apparently, and the people that work on it say that all of the important gubbins is perfectly controlled and not a threat to anybody. Just the technicians are now working with Russians who tell them what to do and what not to do, or presumably keep it on stream or keep it on line, but don't do anything else. So that's the situation. It's still not a good situation, but it's certainly better than them bombing the hell out of it, which is apparently what they were doing prior.
The only good thing at the minute, Alan, right now is a lot of young people in Russia. You know, they're obviously able to get past all the, you know, all the what I'm thinking of, you know,
propaganda.
All the stuff that's been jammed, all the internet's been jammed over, and they're actually going on them VPNs, I think they call them, is it?
Yes.
And they're managing to get information through. And obviously we've been here, and there's been like riots in certain cities, like Moscow. There's been rioting around there. There's the police are going in there heavy, you know what I mean, with weapons and all sorts, and shields and battering and all. And they've been told, obviously, if anyone's got caught on the street, you know, protesting, they're going to get a 15-year jail sentence. Well, there's been about 10,000 people
already,
right across Russia itself, St. Petersburg, Moscow, and other places. You know, I mean, they're on the streets protesting about the war and that. Now, obviously, I think if we can get the information out there, I don't know why they don't drop a leaflet drop like they did in the Second World War, tell them what's really going on. You know what I mean? Why
you try telling Boris to fly a plane over Russia. That's not going to happen. Not anytime soon. I understand what you're saying. Maybe there's a digital way of doing it, you know, get this message out. Because at the present moment, from what we're hearing, an awful lot of Russian. We had a Russian lady speaking on the show last week, and she didn't believe half of what we're seeing on our television, let alone she believes what Putin's saying. And it's, there's two sides. Britain's hands aren't clean. You've invaded other countries, and we have. We've been in a couple within the last 20 years. So, in one way, you cannot say naughty, naughty Russia, but Britain, it's all right for you to go in Afghanistan. It's all right for you to go in Iraq. Do you know what I mean? So I understand there's two sides to every coin. It's just, bottom line is, and this includes kind of Afghanistan and Iraq. We would love friendly governments to be in charge, but ultimately a country should rule itself. And if people get into power there that we don't agree with, that shouldn't be an issue. It should be for that country to decide. It's just in Russia, obviously. Putin's there and he's not moving anytime soon. And it's we're going to vote on who you want as leader.
Yeah.
Putin's the only man standing. Who do you want? You know, well, that doesn't make any kind of sense either. But
no.
But he's
The
the
funny
thing that
thing is,
terrifies. Sorry, the thing that terrifies him most is that the West is really exciting to any Russian that ever ventures out into it. And why can't they have a life like everybody seems to be having over that fence? That's his biggest worry. And that's why he wants the countries around Russia, like the Ukraine, to be more downtrodden, miserable, and controlled, because they're having a wonderful time and they're really enjoying it. And so they should.
Absolutely. You know? It doesn't make sense because you're saying, Russia and Ukraine are brothers and sisters, and there's a lot of people out there, obviously, into married and everything. That there's Russian people who are married to Ukrainians all the way around and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually prepared to bomb the whole country. He did the Grozny. In Chechnya, when he bombed Chechnya smithereens.
Yeah.
I think that's the next step. He's just going to completely smash the whole country into ashes, and then hopefully that would, well, in his eyes, hopefully that would break the people to surrender. Do you know what I mean? I think that might happen. I think the government that's in there now, I think he may have to just wave the white flag and say, look, enough's enough. Do you know what I mean? And just see what happens. See, to stop the people from dying, I think, because obviously NATO are not going to get involved at all.
Yeah, but you see, doesn't that set a precedent that says, yeah, okay, the West says, well, we've done what we can. You might as well surrender. Don't risk your lives. Okay. So then he goes into Estonia. Just surrender. Let him have it. How much do you let him have before you say, whoa, hang on a second, this isn't right?
No. That's his probably mindset. He probably wants to. What I've been hearing, he wants to redraw the map of the Soviet Union,
Yeah.
but he hasn't realised that time has moved on. Nobody wants to be part of the USSR. And all, I mean, and obviously you might want to go towards Poland and, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Bulgaria, Romania. He'll go right across the board, wouldn't he? You know what I mean?
But the problem is his own country isn't in great shape. Why does he want another bit to be a problem for him? I don't understand that.
No.
He's already probably one of the richest men on earth, which is why he probably doesn't give a poo. And whatever happens, it's not going to touch him or his family. But his country's going down the toilet, because of sanctions and what have you. And he doesn't seem to give a
so
money.
mad as well. The Tory party, right? They were awash with money from oligarchs. What's it, oligarchs? Or you call them? Yeah. They've got money off them, and they're obviously not saying too much. I mean, because obviously, why don't they give the money back? But they probably won't do that because obviously they keep it for themselves. But it's all about money, and we're turning the other way. You know what I mean? We're condemning what Russians are doing, but we're not helping the poor people of the Ukraine. We should be doing more to help them, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're confiscating a lot. And now you see, my only memory of confiscation was at school, where teachers would confiscate your cigarettes, confiscate your sweets, and always smoke and eat them. That was how it was. And the British government's doing a bit of confiscating. Everybody else on planet Earth seems to be doing the same kind of thing. But how's that helping people in Ukraine? I'm not saying it. But hey, time will tell. Brian, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate your views. Thanks, man. Bye-bye. 01914 488 3188. Cool. Here we go. Let's get another star coming out tonight. This time, Steve Lukather. Who's he? Who's he, Alan? Toto. Do you remember Toto? What a band. This is me and him having a chat. In my first memory of the band. My first memory of anything that you did this side of the pond was Hold the Line, when it kind of smashed into the charts at a time when American-style rock was massive in Britain, and all of a sudden, Toto arrives. We think you're a heads-down-in-charge rock band, and over the years, you taught us you could do pretty much anything.
Well, I mean, I was 19 years old when I did that record and it came out. At the same time, we were also, playing on every record that came out of Los Angeles as session musicians and every style of music. I have a very eclectic taste. I mean, I listen to Miles Davis and I'll listen to Slipknot. You know what I mean? I like pop music. I like funk. I like all sorts of stuff. So that's creeped into my music. But I'm basically a rock guy that has a wide open ear to other things. And we were we studied music. Some people might see that as a deficit or a fault. I believe that there's not, that there's more than 3 chords. I think there's 3 billion chords, but you have to take the time to study and find it, you know?
Sure. But I mean, when you had that instant success, and I don't know at what degree the success came early doors for you in America, but in Britain, once you'd arrived, you were here to stay.
Well, I mean, you know, it's been a long ride, you know? I mean, the dream is to join a band and have a hit record. And when that sort of happens to you and you're still a teenager, it's kind of overwhelming, you know? I mean, it's the dream comes true. Then the hard part comes to trying to sustain that over all this time. And I've had really an eclectic, interesting career. I've been able to do so many things, work with my heroes, learn a lot. And I still practice, I still care. And, you know, I'm making my own records now, traveling the world. And it kind of really just, as time has ripped by, but I'm still a kid at heart, and I'm still playing with as much energy, if not more so, than I did when I was young.
next? You make the call. 0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Now we are 2 clues in. You get a third clue in about 20 minutes and your fourth clue in 40. So we are very, very near there. So hang on in and see if you could work this out. The first 2 clues: if the weather turns nice near Edinburgh, what song title does that make you think of? Second clue: over 804 kilometres is what you want. 2 clues down, 2 more to come. Whose hits are we talking about? Now, remember to follow and like us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to catch up on the show and see what we get up to across the rest of the week as well. Search Night Owls UK. Put you on the right track for that. Anne's been in touch, and she says, "Hi, Alan. As you know, I've listened every night since the first show. Still great. I think Putin will lose. There's no one on his side apart from his own henchmen. There are demonstrations of opposition in Russia. The whole world is against him. I think eventually some of his gang of thugs will realize he's lost the plot. There has to be a few who will use their own brain and turn against him. Some of his troops have already left, even though it's dangerous for them." That's true, Anne, but in fairness, if you think about Hitler's rise, they tried to kill Hitler with the bomb in the briefcase. The film called Valkyrie with Tom Cruise, all about it, and he survived and went on. So even though there was dissension in the ranks, didn't stop it turning very, very nasty. I would love to think you'd be right, though, Anne. And we also have had one from Sue, who's having a tough time of it. Can't be bothered with anybody. I'm in a lot of pain. It gets me down. Don't know how to get out of the rut. People have told me to go to grief counselling. I've been there, done that after the loss of my dad. It didn't help at all. If anybody has been through this, how do you get over a bereavement? It isn't easy. I know everybody says time is a healer. It's not always. What did you do? How can we help Sue get back on her feet again? James is with us. He's in Anitsford. Hi, James.
Hiya, Alan.
Hello, mate.
I'm sorry for going that, but I'm going to tell about Ukraine there, Alan.
Okay.
NATO, right?
Right.
They want a good kicking for what they're doing. Because they upheld the peace in Europe and for humanity and for civilians in Europe. Yeah.
Right.
And don't forget, Ukraine was known as a breadbasket of Europe, you know, Alan, because that's 50% of our sunflower oil comes from there.
Right.
And the seeds and your flour and your wheat. They all come from Ukraine. That's why it was called the breadbasket of
Europe.
Anyways.
Right.
You know. And it's over 600 missiles being hit on civilian targets in Ukraine. That's the official record, but I reckon it's double that, like, Alan, because that's, you know.
Well, let's say NATO sent peacekeepers in there, and they would also, what usually happens is you'll put a no-fly zone in place. Russia's already said if anybody does that, they'll declare war with any country that's taken part. So now what?
Wait, it's war, Alan. It's simple as that. It's A-B. It's like Hitler, like you mentioned before. It's like history repeating itself. Is because that lad before, he's right. As over 1 million people went to Poland, but he's got the facts wrong about Syria, Hungary, and Romania. Is because it all comes from about 1,700,000 people is refugee from Ukraine now,
right? And
that's the worst exit ever in our history.
I can believe
that's even worse than World War II. That.
Right.
And that's only 11 days.
Yeah.
And what was said that day was Moldova, right? As 130 went into Moldova. Moldova isn't a part of NATO. And the head chief of NATO and Biden, Boris, Macron, and Merkel were asked the same question. What happens when Russia invades Moldova? This is always the sanctions. The same thing. Where you cannot do that. You can't let people, let kids and all that get bombed up for now. You know what I mean? That's what's happening. He's just a tyrant, you know.
You see, if you look at it from his side, and not too many people are, he's thinking, well, 15, 20 odd years ago, we gave these countries their freedom from, they're not part of Russia anymore. They're not part of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics anymore. There you go. Have your independence. Enjoy. Provide. In Ukrainians' case, in the Ukraine's case, Ukraine. There's a new country. In Ukraine's case, they took all of their. Says, you give us all of your nuclear missiles that are on your land, and we'll give you independence. That was a deal done, and we'll not bother you after that time. Of course, they lied, but they were still a massive part back in the day, and most of their history is glued to Russia, not in recent years, but prior to that. Does he not just view them like, well, we gave them their freedom, we can take their freedom back off them if we're not happy with what they're doing? There's a chance that the Ukraine could become part of the EU, so therefore they might choose to put a missile pointing towards Russia on their soil. We're not having that. I mean, do you not see that? Because I remember Tony Blair leading us into war because those Iraqis could fire a bomb onto London within 40 minutes. That was the big do. Isn't this the same on the opposite foot kind of thing?
No. Putin wants to get USSR back. He wants to get all the land back.
Yeah.
He wants to turn the clock back to 1919. Him. You know, right. All the independent states now, like you mentioned, Estonia, all of the independent states, they want to be part of Europe. They don't want to be part of Russia. And it's up to them to do what they want. But he's doing what he's done in Syria, Alan, because he flattened Syria, you know. And that's Putin's outlet. He just wants to garner. He doesn't care about his own people. Doesn't mind anybody else. He doesn't care about any civilians. Like they're supposed to have a ceasefire twice in Mariupol for to get 160,000 people out.
Yeah.
You know, women and children. And he's just dropped. He's just shelled it. He's never stopped shelling it.
Yeah.
And he's turned around. And his excuses, it was the Ukrainians what did it. It's to cover his back with that one because he's going to flatten that city.
But when Russia went into Afghanistan some years ago, before America and Britain did,
they did.
Yeah, we did. We didn't give a whistle, and we didn't say, "Oh, isn't this terrible?" I mean, they went in, they got on with it, and Syria, to a degree. Oh, Syria. Why do we care for some human life and not others? Because that seems to be the case, doesn't it?
No, wait. Yeah, I know where you're coming from, but you're talking about a democratic country here. You're talking about a country what's part of Europe.
So if it's not a democracy, you kill the babies if they're not democratic.
I know. It doesn't sound right. It's like what? That's a lot of wars being fought with different states and different, like look at Israel, for crying out loud. Israel's never stopped, you know. But it is a hard question. It is a hard question. But the simple fact is, right, that the majority of places like Iraq, Iran, right? They were like threatening, you know.
Right.
Like look at 9/11 for crying out loud. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that was all performed by people from Saudi Arabia. What's that got to do with Iraq and Iran?
Right. Well, I don't know. I'm just like, but with Ukraine, right? A peaceful country, and for 30 years they've been trying to get in to the EU for 30 years. No, we made a mistake in 2014. We should have stopped him when he went into Crimea. We should have stopped that, but we didn't. And that's the reason why NATO wouldn't allow Ukraine into NATO at that time, because they were still fighting on the border for 8 years.
Yeah, but what do you do now, though?
But you've got it.
You're saying it's
got to.
Sorry, you're saying it's war now. Then we're at war.
Yeah.
So what do we do? Bomb him?
No, we've got to. We've right. Being Boris and all and Merkel and Macron, they want to pull them straight. They want to say, right, we'll give you 48 hours to pull out of Ukraine, or we're going in. It'll be conventional war. It'll not be a nuclear war, Alan. Right. And we'll wait because you had a lot on the other week was saying that, oh, Russia's stronger. Russia ain't stronger than NATO, Alan. We would wipe the floor with him, right? And he knows that. That's what he's frightened of. He's frightened of NATO. He's frightened of Ukraine getting into NATO, Alan, on his border.
Yeah, and there's also been some kind of converse threat to Finland, because Finland are now saying we've never wanted to be part of NATO, because the big problem was Russia don't want missiles on any country that's right next door to them, and Finland are. So they've been given a gentle warning saying, make sure you don't even think of joining NATO, otherwise there'll be trouble from us. So he's using what muscle he's got. You say it'll not be a nuclear war. Why is he talking nuclear war then?
Well, because he's just a tyrant, Alan. I can guarantee you, if he says to his high generals, we'll go nuclear, they'll probably answer well and shoot him.
Right,
I can guarantee that.
Well, the sooner he says it, the better.
It's because if the world goes nuclear, you got no world.
Right. Okay.
Conventional comes, conventional happens, then we'll just wipe the floor. And that's what I think was going to happen. Because what happened? Because somebody asked NATO, it was the other day, what happens when he goes into Moldavia, and he just said, "Oh, well, the sanctions is working. The sanctions is working." That's not what. No, because that means he can threaten everybody what's not in NATO, and NATO is not going to denounce.
Right.
That's where it looks to me.
Well,
because if you sanction him, you're going to end up. He's the richest bloke in the world, Alan, and you're going to say to him, "Oh, I'll take a penny off you."
No,
yeah, he doesn't care about these people.
I hear what you say, James. Thank you very much for your view.
Anyway, I'm sorry for ranting on, Alan. I hope you have a good night.
Bosh. Thanks, man. Take care.
Right.
The whole idea is we just want your opinion. Whether we agree with it, whether we disagree, it doesn't matter. And I'll bounce on the opposite side of the fence and play devil's advocate from time to time. But what's your view? We already know that some American has suggested putting up £1 million to anybody that brings Putin to justice to face the Court of Human Rights. I think that's a fairly safe million tucked away that he'll never have to call upon. But what's your view on everything? Tell me about it. 0191 488 3188. Edwin is with us. He's in Gateshead. Hi, Edwin.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Good, man. What you got for us?
You're the sensible one. We're just about the same thing, really. A couple of things, really. But
right.
I just hope it's not a world war, because China's trying to get involved now, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
China's supposed to be going to back him. Oh, God. That poor little Ben where you see his hand shaking, I was crying me when I seen that.
Yeah.
You seen the Ben. Oh, what a shame. What else was I going to tell? Oh, that last it was on about bereavement. I went to a bereavement council and I thought it was a waste of time when my mum and dad died. I thought it was a waste of time.
So how do you get over it then, Edwin?
Well, I don't know really. I suppose I haven't really. You just sort of manage day to day. It's sort of you get ups and downs, You sort of I sort of blame myself in a way when my mum died. I blame myself a lot for it. But I don't know. You just sort of just manage to get through. I don't know how to explain it really. Right. You get days when it seems all right. Pressure doesn't seem so bad, and then other days when it is.
I hear it. Anything else, Ed?
It's that Stephen Mulholland. Oh, I can't stand him. See Mono on the telly. He's now like that in debt, is he? He takes a mickey with the people that he has on his show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when he has them on the show, he belittles them, you know. I says to all, I says, oh, I like him. I says, you're joking. I says, he belittles everybody when they're in front of him, when people are in front of me. Instead, like, there was one lad on about these dance now he's doing the other day on the telly. He was doing his arms, taking a mickey with him. I thought, there's no need for that, is it? No, ridiculing the lad like that.
I've never fully understood what he did. I know he's been used as like a sub for Ant and Dec from time to time, and appears on little side shows. But I've never understood him, frankly. But that's
I kind of get away with him. Me, like he's a funny bloke, like. But he's not that much on Dec. How are you doing anyway, yourself, Harry?
I'm all right, Edwin. Thank you very much. She's cool too. Thanks again for asking. Appreciate it. Right? Thanks, Ed.
Take care, buddy. Bye.
Bye. Nice, solid. 0191 488 3188. More stars coming out tonight. Blimey, can we stop them? 0191 488 3188. Or WhatsApp us 07863 431 837. After a bit of music and we sell some adverts if they're actually there, we'll give you your third clue. And you've only got 20 minutes to wait for the last one. Will you be right? Will you win one of our... and I tell you, these will absolutely be collector's items. Clue number one. Oh, I'll give you them later. Let's have some That Star coming out at night. But who is it this time? It's Erasure. Tell me a bit about your families, though, because, I mean, were you from artistic-y kind of families or what?
My mum, she was an artist herself. She was, apart from being a working mum with 6 children, she was a fantastic drawer. And I remember she turned down a position that was given to her from the Daily Mail newspaper or something to be like an illustrator because she didn't want to go to the college.
Wow.
And which I felt bad for her. But she always bought us like artistic toys like puppets, paints, a record player. And then she would never ever let us have war toys. She wouldn't let me have like a Action Man. When I wanted one, she said, no, you can't have one because it's to do with war. So I thought she steered us really in a great direction.
You're an odd couple, the pair of you. I've never fully understood it, and yet it just works.
I think we both came from different. We both had different. We were fans of different types of, not different types, but different musics from the beginning. I was always into kind of early electronic music, like like early Kraftwerk and OMD, Gary Newman, even people like that. That was those bands were big influences on me.
Yeah, I liked a bit quirky, kind of soft punk. So I like Susie and the Banshees and Blondie and X-Ray Specs and Yazoo.
Alan Robson's Night Owls now.
0191 488 3188.
This is real life conversation with the voice of the North.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Okay, we have a third clue. Now remember, each clue, the answer is a song title. So you will end up in 20 minutes with 4 song titles. But whose hits are they? That's what you've got to come up with. Chris is waiting. He guessed it early doors, which is absolutely unlike him. So if he can do it, I think there may well be a bumper number of people trying to win our prize tonight. Clue number 1. If the weather turns nice near Edinburgh. Okay. Second clue. Over 804 kilometres is what you want. Third clue. What you want to tell your child on a journey when they ask, are we there yet? Okay. What you want to tell your child on a journey when they keep asking, are we there yet? You've got 3 big songs, 3 greatest hits, with the 4th greatest hit to come. See if you can work out whose hits, whose greatest hits. Also, we've had a couple of things in. For Sue, Anne says, I lost my husband. We'd been together since I was 16. I'm in my 70s now. It's taken me 5 years to finally come back to life. It just takes time. You keep busy. You listen to other people's problems and you'll get there. Thank you for that, Anne. Also, Timbo's been on and he says, Alan, I have some of my old dad's Slate records. Slate? So, you know the record player the Flintstones play that has a bird's beak instead of a needle? I think that's what he must have. He says, my old records with Perry Como and Bing Crosby in the loft. I'm fairly sure he means the old... It's still vinyl, I think, but the old 78s, I think is what he's meaning. Perry Como. My mum and dad had a radiogram, and in the bottom of the radiogram, kind of like a big radio with a gramophone on the top, record player on the top. And they had a couple of Perry Comos. They had Remember the Night You Fell in It, You Had Your Best Suit On, or something like that. Anyway, classic oldies. Did you have, or have you still got, maybe some of those old 78s? You see them at car boot shows, like 40 of them for 3 pence. Just people just desperate to try and get shot of them. 0191 488 3188. Let's talk to Rachel. She's in heaven. Hello, Rachel.
Hey, Alan.
Hello, love.
I'm sure Perry Como isn't that old.
Well,
anyway.
No, but he did make vinyl, those 78.
78?
Yeah.
Oh, man, he was the 50s, man. 78 was... Well, anyway, that wasn't why.
Elvis Presley made 78.
Did he?
Yeah. I mean, the 78s went up to about 1958, 57, 58.
Oh,
so
well, that was kind of, well, before my time, but
mine too.
Not for very long. I'm not very much younger than you, Alan, so let's just leave that alone. I was born in 1960.
Right.
But anyway, that wasn't why I called it. Now, Chris probably told you I've got 2 anecdotes, and one is about Tildenham Castle.
Okay.
How old was I? God, I must have been about this. It must have been about 1995 or 1996 when I was young and beautiful, and I was an actor, and we did this movie, a TV sort of movie for S4C, which is the Welsh Channel 4,
right,
and it was all set in Tildenham Castle.
Oh, wow.
And it was where there was this guy called Jean-Yves Thibaudeau, who was this absolutely brilliant French concert pianist, real life French concert pianist. Right? He was fabulous. I mean, so fabulous. He was so camp and just so brilliant. It was just wonderful, right? And So, and I had this glamorous part. The only glamorous part I ever had on. I was in this, I was in this like lovely red sparkly dress, and I had this sort of black velvet cloak, and it was all about vignettes. There was no dialogue.
Right.
But anyway, I'll tell you about that later on. But anyway, so we all turned up at Cheltenham Castle in the bus, and in the courtyard, as you know, there's the torture chamber. You come in through the front, and the torture chamber is they had, you know, the tea tray with all the sort of sandwiches and kettles of horrifying coffee and steel tea and all that. That was right next to the torture chamber.
Right.
And we turned up, and I went, "Oh, the torture chamber! I'm going in there, right?" And I was dashing down the steps into it on my own, right? And I was like, and it just was sort of kind of really weird. I mean, I was like all excited, ooh, and then I kind of went further in, and you know, we should do that on the right, sorry, there was some guy in I think it was a gibbet, or there was a guy on a rack.
Yes.
And I swear to God, Alan, every hair on my body stood on end, and I really just wanted to scream. It was so powerful. I ran out. I was like, scrambled up the little wooden stairs, and I was like grabbing everybody. I don't know. Seriously, that was really. I mean, yeah, I do believe in ghosts. I've seen 2 at least that I know about.
Right.
In a house I used to live in, but that's another story.
Right.
So.
Is that thing that you were in online anywhere these days or not? The vignettes
the film,
that you took
well,
part in?
it's called. I've never been able to get a copy of it.
Right.
It was. I know it was called Tales from the Piano.
Right.
And it was made by S4C, and I can't remember the name of the director.
Right, but Tales from the Piano, right.
Yeah, and it was for S4C. If anybody can find that for me, I would be so pleased, because that was such an experience. And the guy I was, my partner, it was all about love stories, little vignettes about different love stories. And my love interest was, and we all knew each other as a bunch of like sort of, you know, budding actors. And my boyfriend was called Peter McGowan. I'm sure he won't mind me giving him the publicity. Fabulous guy, right? And he had to play. He's a little older than I am. Well, I was like 34 something then. He maybe was 36, right? Let's say.
Yeah.
So anyway, but the day before, he'd had a vasectomy. Right.
Right.
And look, I know he won't mind me saying this, and you can netty me if you want.
That's all right. You tell everybody about his vasectomy. You go on. You do that.
I want everybody knew anyway. With the poor little soul, right? He had to play this a sort of middle-aged playboy with this glamorous young
thing. Right.
Yes, which was me. Oh, do you ever look remember and think, who's that? You know what I mean?
You're still that glamorous girl. Don't be daft. So what happened, though?
No.
I mean, what happened to his vasect?
So right. So we had to do with this scene where we're driving in this gorgeous, tiny little sports car.
Right.
It was bright red, and he was like driving me to this piano recital. All the different characters, all couples, and it was all about how they got there. And he couldn't get out of the car because it was so painful. And I had him in these really tight trousers, poor soul. But oh man, he was stalwart. And I learned something else, because I had to get out of the sports car
Right.
And I had high heels on and like a sort of fairly short skirt, very glamorous. And I was trying to get on this. One of the crew come up to me, listen, look, this is how you get out of a car, right? So you open the door, you swivel,
Yeah.
right, and
Both
you
legs
put
at once.
you put one leg down,
Right.
and you take a hold of the handle and you raise yourself up and you put the other foot in front of the other, and it's they said I did it right, but I've never seen it.
Oh, I know you want to see it. So if anybody can find Tales from the Piano, a Welsh production, but Tales from the Piano, check it out if you can. So what was your other story? You got another story about what?
Well, you had something about you. Have you ever met a celebrity?
Yes.
Now, around about the same time when I was a young actor, I went for an audition, and it was at. Do you remember the old Time's TV studio on the quayside where they used to do the tube and that?
Yes.
So there was a bunch of us that all turned up for little bit parts, because that's all you get when you live in Newcastle. You get bit parts. They cast all the Geordies down south.
Yeah.
But I'm not bitter. Right. So I'm sitting there and everybody's looking really snooty and looking down, and this guy I knew called Rob. I'm not going to say his second name because I can't remember.
Right.
But he was such a pretentious ball, right? And we're sitting there and he's going, oh, blah, 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 I did this and yada, yada, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like zoning out. And then I see these three men come out of a doorway, very expensively dressed. And I went, Rob was going, blah, blah, blah. And I went, that's Ken Dodd. It's Ken Dodd. And he was walking out and he was wearing this gorgeous, like a greyish camel coat, and his hair was white. And then this Rob was just going, yada, yada, yada. And this, everybody else was just like turning up their nose. I know that's Ken Dodd, but I'm not going to do anything. I went, bugger this. So, excuse me, I didn't mean to swear.
That's all right.
And I just jumped up, right? And the three gentlemen were standing talking, and I went over and I went, Mr. Dodd, I love you, and I have to do this. And I kissed him on his cheek.
You'd have loved
it. And he was like, oh, that's lovely. And I was like, me and my grandma have always loved you. And then when I said it, I thought, God almighty. Yeah.
It's a bittersweet. Just proof that he's there for everybody.
He was lovely.
Nice,
and so I had a little bit there, and I went and sat down back next to Rob, and he went, well, I was saying, drawn. And I'm like, are you insane? I just met Ken Dodd. And I couldn't understand. Well, I can understand, because I know what actors are like. They're snooty. They don't want to show,
show affection and emotion.
That they're fans, But I'm very impetuous person.
You did the right thing. I'd have kissed him too. He's amazing. Love Ken Dodd.
And his cheek was so soft. Oh,
there you
it was lovely.
It was worth it then. Hey, must move on, Rachel, but thank you for coming on.
Before I go, can I tell you a quick joke?
Yes, please. Always.
I promise it's not rude.
Right, go for it.
You did netty me once for a joke a long time ago, and I had tried to clean it. But this is Jewish humour.
Okay.
Right? So nobody ever gets this joke. Right now, it's not a joke deriding Jewish people. It's Jewish humor. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Jewish joke from a Jewish people sort of thing. I just thought I'm clear.
Gotcha.
Okay, so so this guy, he goes into a store, and all down one side of the store is shelves and shelves and shelves of salt, all kind of different salt. So he says to the guy behind the counter, "Hey, you must sell a lot of salt." And the guy says, "No, but the guy who sells me the salt, can he sell salt?"
That's a good joke. Thank you very much. That is a good joke. 0191 488 3188. Get your calls in, and our thanks to her. Let's move on. Tons of other things. We want to hear everything that you want to get off your chest, and we are running out of time to do it. So let's get cracking. I'm going to give you that fourth clue. I said in 20 minutes. We're 18 minutes. I'm actually premature. That's happened before. Anyway, here we go. Clue number 1. If the weather turns nice near Edinburgh, what is that song title? Secondly, over 804 kilometres is what you want. Third clue, what you want to tell your child on a journey if they ask, are we there yet? And the fourth clue, it costs roughly $1.30 for us to send a written message there. Okay? It costs roughly $1.30 for us to send a written message there, as current prices dictate. You got 4 clues. That's 4 songs. But whose hits? Call us now. 0191 488 3188. Race to those telephones and give Chris a rattle right now. Or WhatsApp the answer with your telephone number to 07863 431 837. Bob is with us. He's in Middlesbrough. Hiya, Bob.
Hello.
Hello, mate. What can we do for you?
Yeah, I just want to tell people about my book.
Your book? What's your book about?
Music.
All right.
Autism. So my book's about autism. It's about my life with autism, and there's 3 stories in my book.
Right.
The first part is about autism, then the second part is my lyrics that I write, and I actually work with Carl Pemberton, who is a member of Journalism.
Right.
And I'm working on my second book now.
Well done. Well done, you. That's
I'm
good.
doing a documentary about autism as well.
Right.
So I just want to tell people about my
it. So
book
what,
on music.
where's your first book, or where's your books available at then?
So it's on Amazon and Waterstones in Middlesbrough.
Right.
And it's called My World in My Words.
Right.
And you can also check on my website on www.bobbybigdreamswithaz.com.
Right. So there's the 2 places they can find it. Okay, Bob.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for letting us know. Hopefully that'll be of use to people.
Are you welcome?
Well, that's good. Well, thank you for coming on. 0191 488 3188. Just spotted who is next, and just something that I didn't expect from that particular source. It's Linda from Barrisford. Hello, Linda.
Oh, good evening, Alan.
Hello, you. And blimey, I've just read what you're on about your nephew.
Yeah, he's out in Poland on the
border
borders.
with Ukraine. Yeah.
Yeah, in a place called Lanwowski or something.
Right. And what's he doing there then?
What was it? He's took a load of. He's been to supermarkets in Germany,
right?
And they've given them food and everything, different types of food, like pasta and tin stuff and
right,
whatever.
Yeah.
And he filled up his car, and he asked people if they could send money to his account, to his PayPal or whatever.
Right.
And so far, he's got 2,000 euros.
Wow, that's great.
And he drove all the way to the borders.
Right.
And he made sure that people got wood to to make a few fires up, sort of thing, in like tin barrels.
Yeah.
And got toiletries and stuff like that for them. But what they're wanting now is blankets and more clothes and any food that they can get a hold of. It's really bad out there.
So, I mean, is he all right?
He's all right, yeah. He says of a night time he's cold. It's freezing out
cold,
there.
Sure.
You know, minus, I think they had about minus 3 or 4 last night, I think. Obviously, my sister, Alison, you know Alison.
Yes, I do, sure.
You know, she's worried about him, sort of thing, you know, being out there. But she's proud of him that he's gone out there
it's a lovely thing.
Do what he's doing, sort of thing.
How long would it take him to get over there? Because presumably he's driving through Poland, is he?
Yeah.
Right.
What was it? I think it takes him as long as it would take him to get here.
Right, no, that's a fair way. Right.
You know, in Newcastle, sort of thing.
Sure.
There's about 1,000 miles or something.
Oh, well, well done to him, and also raising a lot of money, which will help, obviously, because there'll be an influx of people entering Germany, I would imagine, with nothing.
Well, what he's doing is he's going in Poland to the supermarkets, asking what they need or whatever, like cheese and different types of food and everything.
Yeah.
And then he's packing up all the car and going back to the border and to a refugees camp.
Right.
And just making sure that people have got stuff. Sort of thing.
No, it's a lovely thing. So send them our love, because that is a really nice thing to do. We've heard so many people doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's on Facebook anyway. But I've
what's it under?
Oh,
on Facebook, do you know what it's named? Just so that people can have a look at it.
It's just Nick Render.
Oh, Nick Rendell. Somebody came on about Nick Rendell earlier on today.
Oh, yeah.
We had a caller earlier on about Nick, so that's good news, right?
Yeah.
I didn't put two and two together. It would be one of your family that came on earlier. Was it Andy? Who was it,
Andy.
Chris? Adam, I beg your pardon. Adam was on.
Oh, Adam Render.
Yes. Adam rang in about it.
Nephew.
Well, there you go, you see. So we're already ahead of the game. So we've already got his details. We've already pointed people towards his website. So that's all good stuff. But it's excellent what he's been doing. So how are you, Linda? You all right?
Oh, I'm not too bad, thank you, Adam.
That's very
Adam.
No, I'm not Adam. He's Adam. So, are you going to, if this comes to World War III, are you joining up, Linda?
Well, if it comes to World War III, we wouldn't have a chance in hell, will we?
Well, of course we will. You'll be the force's sweetheart, Linda.
Oh, yeah. Now, what was it? Then we'd be singing, all we are saying is give peace a chance.
Well, I think we've been singing that already, but he wasn't listening to that one.
No. What else can we sing then, Alan?
Oh, I don't know. Something. What was your go-to tune when you were up on stage, Linda? What was the song that you're most well known for?
The song that I'm most well known for.
Yeah, is there one?
Cool. Well, a war song or
no,
what?
just anything. You know, when you were singing, when you were up on stage doing your thing, what was one of the big songs of the time?
Que sera, sera.
Whatever will. Well, I tell you, that is perfect for the moment, isn't it? Because whatever will be, will be. That is for absolute sure. Hey, well, thanks for coming on anyway, Linda. Great to hear from you as always.
Well, what was it? You take care of yourself. And what was it? And I hope that things get better.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't get any nastier than it already is.
Yeah, we need it to get better soon. Thank you very much, Linda.
Yeah.
Nice
take
talking.
care now,
You too,
Alan.
love. Bye-bye. We have Chris, the truck from Wallsend, on next. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Wait, I'm always fascinated by where you are. Are you home or away at the moment?
I'm away. I'm on my way back up to the northeast, but I've just pulled into Leicester Forest Services.
Right, I know exactly where you are. Lovely stuff. Well, thank you for taking time. What are you on about then, Chris?
Just sheds and lofts and stuff.
What's in yours? I presume it's not big enough to get the truck in.
No. In the shed, I've got 2 lawnmowers.
Right.
One's mine, one's the neighbour's, because the neighbour hasn't got a shed.
Oh, that's lovely. Has he got a key or does he have to see you?
I just open it. He sends us a text message or whatever, and I just do let him in. Open it for him.
That's good stuff.
So I've got a spare set of alloy wheels for my car.
Right.
And then I keep all my empty boxes. So whenever I buy something new, so like me box for me telly, me microwave, me kettle, all that sort of stuff.
Isn't that a nightmare? Is it just those boxes, like your telly box, even though your telly's whatever size it is, the box is 3 sizes, it's huge for all the like polystyrene and all the cloth that comes with it. And you always think, might have a problem with that telly. Oh, and how would I travel with that telly if ever I move? So you keep all the boxes, computer boxes, anything remotely technical. So that's it. Have you got anything that you've just put in there because you're never ever going to use it again?
Well, there's some fence posts. Took a bit of fence. There was a stretch of fence in my garden when I moved in.
Yeah.
There was about maybe 6 foot of fence that I took down. And I've kept the fence posts just in case.
In case of what, though? Just in case.
I don't know.
In case ever you need another 6 foot of fence.
I was thinking about getting like a little chimney or something for the garden.
All right, okay.
So I thought I could maybe chop them up and like burn them or whatever. But I have just put them in there just to.
Because you don't want to chuck them away, I understand. Hey,
aye.
You never know. Because my dad was one of the sorts, because he kept everything. It was everything. I mean, food-wise, there's still some meat left on that chicken. And you go, there really isn't. Oh, I'm just putting that. Yeah. So food, nothing got thrown away. But when it came to screws, nuts, bolts, anything that had screws, nuts, bolts, or innards in them, they'd have to go in there, take all the parts out, and then there's like a wooden clock surround. Better keep that.
Yeah.
You never know when.
Yeah.
And he had the garage, the attic, any space, any cupboard, just full of crap, essentially. But the crap that you never know when you're going to need whatever it was. What about your loft then? Because your garage sounds actually pretty well ordered by the sound of things.
Well, yeah, I mean, I only moved into the flat maybe a year and a bit ago.
Right.
So some of the stuff that was in the shed was there from the previous owner. Right. And like you say, there's loads of jars of screws and nuts and bolts and all that sort of stuff as well.
Uh-huh.
But in me loft, there was like, he must have been into like restoring old radios or something.
Right.
Because in the loft there's 4 or 5 like old wirelesses from like the maybe 50s or 60s type era.
I love all that. Obviously, being in the business, I love all the old wirelesses. I think they're beautiful looking things, most.
Yeah.
Even if they don't work. I mean, most of them don't work these days, but they're just nice to look at.
No, I think they're mostly all knackered, but there's about 3 or 4.
Brilliant. That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
My dad used to buy old things that didn't work and then work on them for about 4 or 5 weeks. And then when they still didn't work, he just pushed through the cupboard somewhere. But it kept him occupied. Whatever. Yeah, I'm going, all right, Dad. Does it work? No, I haven't managed with that one. Okay. Next one.
All right.
Crazy. But interesting all the same. So what's the worst, the dodgiest, the most ridiculous thing you've got up in the attic? Because old radio, I love old radios, so I kind of class that.
Apart from the old radios, there's nothing up there apart from obviously like the loft insulation and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's fair.
It's to be fair, it's only a tiny little small loft hatch. So
gotcha.
you can barely get in it anyway. So
it's anything that you can put. You've probably got about 2 or 3 boards down, and it's just the stuff you put on the boards on top of the.
yeah, there's not even that, to be honest.
Really?
So, like I said, it's literally just the insulation.
That's fair enough.
I think there's a couple of old TV aerials up there.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's nothing really exciting in there.
That's fair enough. Hey, good. So, anything else, Chris, before you disappear?
I'll give you a quick Scottish joke.
Oh, go on then.
What's the difference between Frank Sinatra and Walt Disney?
Yeah, I don't know. What's the difference between Frank Sinatra and Walt Disney?
Frank sings, but Walt Disney.
Thank you, and good night. There you go. Chris the Truck. Safe journey, Chris. All the best, man. 0191 488 3188. Now, I've been asked a strange question from Gary, who's just sent an email in. Gary says, Alan, I'm desperate for sex, but I don't have a partner. What should I do? Well, I can't say over the radio, really. Instead, I'll play a piece of music. Hope it helps.
This is the home of Alan Robson's Night Owls.
With the voice of the North.
Greatest Hits Radio.
Now, I have to say, not as many people as I thought getting tonight's competition, so let's rock it to you one more time. The first clue, and remember, every clue has a different song as its answer. Clue number 1, if the weather turns nice near Edinburgh. If the weather turns nice near Edinburgh. And that is a truly magnificent song, incidentally. Second clue, over 804 kilometres is what you want. Over 804 kilometres is what you want. Third clue, what you want to tell your child on a journey when they ask, are we there yet? And the fourth clue, it costs roughly $1.30 for us to send a written message there.
Oh, what's wrong? What's happened?
My voice is a bit hoarse.
Right, okay.
I started being sick last night with it.
Oh,
My
that's not
chest.
good. Right.
I
Oh,
was bringing up brown stuff and that.
right.
And
What have
my
you
nose
been
was a bit
eating? What
runny.
have you been eating that's brown?
My nose was a bit runny.
All right,
And
okay.
I went to get a COVID
Test.
and that came back negative.
That's good. That's good. So what do you think?
And
What do you think set you
I've been
off
up the
then?
hospital. I've been up the hospital today.
Right. And what did they say?
They think it could be a chest infection.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that would be like mucus on your lungs or,
Yeah.
or whatever, right? Oh, that's what you've been bringing up lately as well.
Uh,
So, I mean, did they give you anything to help you?
They gave us some amoxicillin.
Right. Okay, that's antibiotics, isn't it? Amoxicillin,
Yeah.
right? So hopefully that'll chase the infection away, and you'll be back to normal again. Because you got to be careful with all this kind of stuff.
I do, yeah.
You know that. So
And I put some of that stuff on my belly, on my chest tonight, like Vicks.
Vicks, oh yeah, Vicks good. Makes you feel warm, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The whole Vic thing, and it'll probably clear your nose as well, being a bit runny, a bit drippy.
Yeah.
Because
When I was a kid, I used to eat it.
That might explain an awful lot, actually, Dave. But the thing with your nose is, if your nose keeps running a bit more, you know that Vic stuff that you put on your chest.
Yeah.
Just put a tiny bit on the end of your finger, and you just put it on around your nostrils, and it'll help you breathe a bit easier at night time. That's
I will.
That's what we do as well, and it usually works pretty well. I'm old school with Germaline and Vic stuff. I believe in it. It's good stuff over
Can
the
I
years.
mention a couple more things, Alan?
Of course you can. Go ahead.
Do you not think we should give Putin a way out?
Like, what are you thinking?
I was thinking we could say, like, he doesn't like these sanctions, does he?
No.
We could say, if you move all your troops out, we'll remove all the sanctions and that.
I think we haven't said that, but I think he knows that that we would remove the sanctions and we'd open up the factories and his shops and stuff that have closed down. I don't think he cares, to be honest. I think he's made his mind up that he's making a point, and we either let him or we don't, and only time will tell us when that happens. What was the other thing you had, Dave?
I was going to go and fight, but my mom didn't want us to.
No, you just stay where you are. Stay, you never know when you might be needed here, so you stay here and stay safe. And anyway, you need to sort yourself out first, don't you?
You know, people's been putting like stuff in garages and attics.
Yes.
I stick everything in the spare room.
Oh, you got a spare room with all your tat in, have you?
Yeah, I've got 6 DVD players, 3 video cassette recorders.
What?
Turntable. Get all blaster.
Yeah, you got the history of broadcasting right there. I must move on, Dave. We're out of time, but thank you so much for calling in. Take it easy. Bye-bye. Oh, that's great. Perfect way to finish. Where's Matthew tonight? I've missed Matthew. What a damn shame. Anyway, we are out of time. Piece of music. Your last chance is right now if you're going to win tonight's prize.